We will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands while the walls come tumbling down. They do, I'll be right behind you. So glad we almost made it. So sad they had to fade it. Everybody wants to rule the world. I can stand this indecision, married with a lack of vision. Everybody wants to rule. Say that you never needed one headline, why believe it? Everybody wants to rule the world. Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to.
Behind the scenes. Ooh. As you can see, YouTube is screwing up for me tonight. But I'm gonna wait a minute for a few more people to get in. And I'm gonna try to see if I can't get the chat up on my phone, because if you caught that little blip, YouTube is acting like a bunch of monkeys at typewriters, and the chat on the little live stream display was not working. So, you know how that is. But let me pull this up. I hope everybody's day went well. I hope you all had a good start to your week, better than the guy honking the horn outside. I am actually like really tired. I'm not gonna lie, I'm more tired than I thought I was, but I wanted to talk about this because I had. Oh, okay, I see. Mike is very quiet. Okay, give me a second. Let me turn this up. Can y'all hear me now? Is that better? Give you cuz I have a bad delay over here. Let me just of course it's not. I swear to God, every time, every time. All right, let me know now how the mic is, and we'll go from there. It might be my stream setting interfering with my Elgato settings. But like I said, I hope you all having a good start to your week. Perfect. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And yeah, I'm starting to see chats come in. Hello. Yeah, HiveWorks is, we're going to be getting into a little bit of HiveWorks history, and also my almost, I call it my shoulda coulda woulda with HiveWorks, because back in the day they had open submissions. But okay, so first of all, hi, welcome. If I start rambling a little bit, I am very tired. I was not planning on doing anything today, but then this document dropped. And so I'm like on one bowl of Chipotle and a Red Bull. So pardon me. But today we're going to talk about a document that dropped that I saw on BlueSky. So I was just like minding my own business. I check BlueSky in the morning before work to get the news and all that. And then I see this post from the Cartoonist Cooperative, right? And they said the HiveWorks Artists Guild has released a public statement alleging years of labor abuses, financial mismanagement, and misconduct at HiveWorks at the hands of Zealot, I think. I really don't know how to pronounce that, but Zell, Velamis, and Isabel is a Melacron? Sorry. I don't know how to pronounce that last name, but and you can read the full statement at this. Now, I was always under the impression that HiveWorks was a decent kind of like small web comic hosting platform and publishing group, because that's what I remember them as. HiveWorks has been around since like I want to say 2014, and they came about when like Smack Jeeves and a lot of other older webcomic sourcing places kind of fell out because there wasn't a lot of ad revenue there to sustain the servers. Because I was a young teenager with webcomic dreams, and I had like a lot of like webcomics on Smack Jeeves. There were only like maybe 1 or 2 pages, but that was like the place that you went. But then you started to see more groups kind of like get together and like host their own comics, or like collab with people with similar comics. And HiveWorks was one of those groups that mainly centered around like POC and queer comics, a lot of sex positive comics, stuff like that. And it was also where a comic I was reading at the time on Tumblr, Sister Claire, ended up being. And then another comic artist that I followed on Tumblr, who now makes oh my God, hold on, let me go actually look up let me go open up another window and like actually open up HiveWorks for you all, because I'm starting to forget what the name of the first comic was that the artist who does Tiger is doing now. I can't remember it. Damn. damn, I can't remember it. But you know, stuff like that. They were moving to HiveWorks, and I was like, oh, I'd love to be there. So this is part of my shoulda, coulda, woulda story, right? Was that back in like I want to say 2014, 2015. Oh yeah, Atomic Robo. Oh my god, I heard so many good things about Atomic Robo, and I think they even self-published before they got on there. Um, so it, you know, having them there was like a big draw. But the thing is that they had like open submissions, and I remember in like 2014, 2015, I was like, oh, let me make like a pitch because it was a pitch thing. And I was like, oh, this would be a good chance for me to maybe get something off the ground. Oh, yeah, Devil's Candy. That was another big one. And they're published with, I want to say a manga group, but I can't think of the name right now. Um, oh, Go Get a Roomie. Trying Human. I also read on Tumblr. Also, get Trying Human. It's so good. I recommend it. But they got empowered on here. When did they do that? What? They got empowered. I don't believe it. Oh, I'm probably gonna get demonetized because I completely forgot what empowered was for a minute. But I was like, oh, this would be my chance to actually get something out there. But I never submitted, you know, because I was still just about to get out of college, didn't really have the time, what have you. Um, oh, Prog Race. Thank you. Thank you, Prog Race. I could not remember it for the life of me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, I was reading Prog Race, and then that one kind of pittered out, which a lot of first time web comics do. I also want to say that they had a comic on here that was from the creator of Hannah Is Not a Boy's Name, but I could be misremembering the host sites because that was another one. And of course, that group escapes me too, but there was like a big deal because they also had Hannah Is Not a Boy's Name and Lackadaisy and Whack Fu. And that company kind of pittered out, and those people went their separate ways to different groups. And of course, Lackadaisy ended up with Iron Circus, which we're also going to be talking about them because that's the thing that gets me with this recently, especially with this post and this document, right? Is that as of late, we've been seeing a lot of independent web comic or comic groups having this same issue of horrible management because so the HiveWorks thing, then we also have with the indie Silver Sprocket publisher, which publishes a lot of comics that I don't think people necessarily know about, but they should. Like, I wanted to do a couple of videos on some of their comics, like Dog Biscuits, which got recommended to me, and then they also published Mr. Boop, which was one of my most favorite comics of 2020, like the whole lockdown. That was like my go-to daily web comic. But yeah, and even Iron Circus, like there is a issue of mismanagement here and taking advantage of artists who think they're coming into a community of mutual respect and understanding only to be blindsided when the business end doesn't work out. Because I think that people forget about it too, is that this is a business. Yes, it's a bunch of artists coming together, but unfortunately we live in capitalism. So you got to have like the business side of things running, the money side of things running. You have to keep open communication with your artists. You have to, there's a lot of moving cogs that people don't think about when they go into a business. And it boggles my mind, especially with how many horror stories and failures that we have seen in the indie comic space, that people just don't understand it. And Actually, it's funny that you mentioned about the ad blockers on the site, because that was one reason that, okay, so recently HiveWorks actually migrated away from their printing and like their printing and warehousing division, where they will now only print on demand. Like they won't do like 100 copies of one book and hold it for the artist anymore. And they cited low ad revenue after the pandemic. And I can only imagine it's because the ads were getting out of control. A lot of people don't like to be bombarded with ads anymore. Like, I currently am not monetized on YouTube, but I pay for YouTube Premium. And one time when I was over at my partner's place, he doesn't have YouTube Premium. And I couldn't believe how like bombarded, like just the ads, boom, 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 being thrown at you all the time. It's madness. It drove me crazy. And I was like, you know what? If there's one thing that I guess I have to keep, it would be this. Like, because I can't do it. I cannot do it. But we're gonna read through this document, and I also want to go through the Iron Circus document, but not document, but kind of retellings from certain people. That one's probably going to be a bit shorter, and then if I can fit it and if I'm still feeling up to it, we're going to go over the Silver Sprocket expose that was done. But main focus we're going to do is HiveWorks. So this is a very, first of all, this is a very well put together document, I must say. Like, they have the statement fully here, divided into chapters, then the statement of the co-op and how you can help. Because a lot of people in situations like this want to know, how do I support my artists? Like, I don't want to go to HiveWorks and give them the clicks that this is all that's happening, but also I know that artists are still being hosted on there. Like, what do I do? So the fact that they gave everybody options, that'd be great. Oh, and I'm also going to be going through a few saved posts I have on BlueSky from artists who are part of this document, who wanted to give a bit more detail, especially one that's pretty wild, if true. Oh, yeah, if true. I have to do the legal disclaimer that all of this is alleged. All of this is alleged. These are the testimonies of these artists working at HiveWorks, but no charges have been pressed, nothing like that. We won't really know just how true this is unless Zell and Isa come forward and like give their testimony, if they are willing to be, you know, open about it and actually like tell the truth. Because as we go into this statement, you will see why, even if they did come out, you might be a little bit apprehensive. But as of right now, all alleged. Please do not harass anybody mentioned in this document. And yeah, let's get going. I've yapped long enough. All right. So, in light of HiveWorks' shift to downsizing as a company and shuttering its public service, and in solidarity with the members of the guild at Slipshine, which is the more adult comics publishing side of HiveWorks. I think they bought them out, if I remember correctly. We, the HiveWorks Artists Guild, are stepping forward to publicly introduce ourselves and outline the work and time we have invested in this company's betterment. The HiveWorks Artists Guild consists of around 100 past and present HiveWorks comic creators. We first came together to share information, and upon learning it wasn't just me, we began to request better treatment from HiveWorks. We did not want to involve the public in the beginning, as well-meaning onlookers might stop supporting the artists who still relied on HiveWorks services. Which is why they have the How You Can Help in there. And also the fact that it's over 100? Over 100? That's wild. Over 100 people? Like, that's crazy that you have over 100 people that are that disgruntled with what you've done. Like at some point, maybe when you got to 20, did you not think, maybe it's something we're doing? Like, did you look up and then see 50 and go, oh shit, we gotta redo this whole thing? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Um, Unfortunately, our attempt at handling matters privately over the past 3 years was unsuccessful. HiveWorks has failed to provide its advertised services, has bled talent and downsized dramatically, and has revealed a massive $340,000 worth of debt that the guild became aware of in early 2025. I cannot stress to you all that $340,000 worth of debt. And these people have been trying to negotiate with these two heads of HiveWorks for 3 years. That's 2 years too many. They really gave them some benefit of the doubt. They really gave, like, that's some good faith for your ass. Like, and, like, golly. And oh my God, this whole sentence still boggles my mind. 3 years put into trying to work with these people, and then finding out that they have bled $340,000. God. We now feel it is imperative to put on record our history with HiveWorks, both to stand as proof of what we had tried to accomplish and also serve as a warning to those who may consider associating professionally with Zell or Izza. And honestly, I don't want to work with somebody who just flushed $340,000 down the drain. Okay. What is HiveWorks? HiveWorks Comics was founded in 2011 by Zell Velemist, who remains the sole owner. She is also the owner of the adult comic publisher Slipshine that she acquired in 2015. Okay, I was right. They bought it. HiveWorks is a curated collective of webcomics that provide web hosting and website design, as well as ad services and an interlinked webcomic catalog to increase exposure. In the time since its founding, HiveWorks expanded into physical publication, crowdfunding management, and centralized online store for comic books and merchandise known as the Hive Mill. HiveWorks creators received ad revenue, with some creators being specially contracted for page rates or creative stipends in exchange for exclusivity. The staff at HiveWorks consisted of webcomic artists and comic adjacent professionals who have experience in website coding and or server administration. Staff members were responsible for onboarding and supporting artists who were accepted as HiveWorks members or clients, as HiveWorks has come to refer to them. We do not intend to name most of these staff members outright. Our problems stem largely from the individuals named above, who bear most of the responsibility for HiveWorks' many issues. HiveWorks secured and paid for hosting for all of their clients, giving creators an easy way to get their comics online without needing to know how to create a website. And just as an aside for those who don't know, before Tapas, before Webtoon, or even Smack Jeeves, a lot of web comics, you had to make your own website and be good at CSS coding. A lot of people would do WordPress, and I remember somebody made like a WordPress template for web comics. But if you were not good at CSS, if you were not good at maintaining your own like web page and whatnot through it, or if you had like Adobe Publisher or something like that, Adobe Website Builder, then you were kind of SOL on that. You had very limited options to host your stuff. So we've really expanded over the years to different web comic hosting alternatives, which is fantastic. And that's why it sucks when they fail like this, because it's already a niche market. And there's this really big competitor with Webtoon that's got its own problems. That's a stream all on its own. Webtoon and their BS. But, having alternatives other than that is always great. You don't want a monopoly in the space. But when they fail like this and so spectacularly, it puts doubt into the other smaller webcomic hosting places that aren't, like, how can I trust you when you all are doing this? Like, I might as well go with the big dogs and have them screw me over, But a HiveWorks staff member developed Comic Control, a content management system designed specifically for webcomics to act as the backend for the HiveWorks websites. It was the intent that each creator brought on board would work with staff to design their own unique website. In the mid-2010s, as free-to-use webcomic sites like SmackGeez went under, this service attracted quite a few comic creators, especially since creators retained full rights to the creative work even under contract. And that's another highlight, because even with Webtoon, a lot of them don't get that. Like, very rarely, I think. I've seen some videos going over, mainly, I want to say, Webtoon originals, I want to say, have been having that problem. But yeah, let me stop before I get on that. Over its 14 years of existence, staff members have come and gone. The roles they filled often bled into each other. One person might handle social media posts as well as pre-press. Another might handle maintaining comic control as well as website design and moderating ads. In any small company, this kind of role creep is not unusual, but it causes the usual pitfalls: uncertainty about who to go to for any one issue, too much on any one person's plate, and inefficiency in production. Now, that's the thing, is like, when you're starting out and you don't have that much staff, yes, this is typical, very typical. But after 14 goddamn years, this should not be a problem. Like, after 14 years, you should not have one person having 5 roles. Like, that's outrageous for you to have been in the game this long and not understand that. The chief member that we will name, who in the end all parts of the HiveWorks pipeline had to pass through, was Isabel Issa Melachron. She held the official titles of, all right, y'all get this, she held the official titles of Chief Operating Officer and Head Editor, but handled almost all administrative roles: payroll, merch design, social media, the queue for which projects would get Kickstarter support and win, book design, editorial work that would be self-appointed, and translation deals with outside publishers. Issa managed all of these roles, often at the same time and often unsuccessfully, with varying levels of competence and honesty. Why do you not have a separate payroll person? Why do you not have a design person, a social media person? Why do you not have the Kickstarter person? Why don't you have a team of editors? And why don't you have like 2 other managers below you who can look after these people? Like, 14 years in the game and y'all siloed yourselves. Why? Do you feel like nobody can get it done unless it's you? Thank you. Melanson. Thank you. I just, for sake of ease, because I don't want to keep screwing up their names, and I think they just call them Zell and Issa through the whole document anyway, but thank you for the pronunciation correction. But that's just outrageous to me. So, other staff performed a variety of roles, but it was rare that their work did not require Issa's approval in some way. Many of these quote-unquote departments were heavily siloed, with Issa as their main and sometimes only point of communication when it came to webcomic management. This led to a hierarchy entirely reliant on the presence of a single key employee. Issa was expressed feeling overworked while simultaneously taking on new projects, and despite dealing with health issues, would would continue to pile things onto her own plate. Her refusal to delegate would become increasingly disruptive as time went on and this behavior compounded. Issa was responsible for many of the day-to-day troubles at HiveWorks, but she was also responsible for wrangling Zell's behavior a lot of the time. And see, right there, right there, right there. Like, the fact that so this has to be an ego thing, right? Because I know that even at my own job, I'm like, I can't be like, I'm doing what my job says I need to do. If you add on anything else, we're going to have a talk between you, me, my manager, and the union. Like, we got to talk. But this right here, that she was responsible for wrangling Zell's behavior, tells me that Zell wasn't doing CEO stuff and kind of planted a lot of that responsibility onto the COO. Like, you want to have the CEO title, but not have the CEO work, you know. And you also want to be cheap and not hire more people to do this. Like, the CEO's words and the CEO's words and actions often jeopardize the image of HiveWorks as a whole, and Issa would do her best to put out these fires. With no formal HR at HiveWorks, Issa filled that role as well, and with so much else on her plate, the arrangement hurt many people. Now, why is the COO the head of HR? Why are you setting yourself up like that for a legal problem? That's such a big legal problem. Oh my God. Why would you do that? They must not have, well, I know they didn't, given the money thing, but they really need, that's the one thing that you get as a lawyer. If you're going to start any business, it could be you and your friend, your lawyer. Point blank, period. You, your friend, your lawyer. That's what you need to start a business. And then you grab the accountant. Because first you got to get all the paperwork together, and then the accountant can tell you how much money you're going to have to spend to get this endeavor going. But at least you'll be all set because the lawyer will have set you on your way. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. At its best, HiveWorks worked as it was meant to. The process made publishing webcomics fantastically easy, taking the brunt of the trickier parts of web publishing off artists by managing the process in bulk. A connected hub of high-quality, individually vetted stories, all with their own personally designed website. On paper, it was a dream come true. But at its worst, HiveWorks' process became a checklist of tasks that had to be done in a very particular way, leading them to be done very slowly or not done at all. Staff members often had day jobs and other non-HiveWorks related obligations, leading them to communicate poorly with artists and with each other. This led to long and obscurely defined queues, favoritism in doled out services due to popularity / earning power / personal friendships, uncomfortable power imbalances between staff and clients. The big one, delayed payout, especially when ad revenue as a whole tanked after the pandemic, and at its absolute worst, the misappropriated funneling of funds from recent projects into older, incomplete projects. Now that part's going to be the big one. Actually, that whole last bit is, but the thing is that, okay, let's go down. Because if I keep stopping every 10 minutes, we ain't never going to get through this. But like, just so you know, let me take a sip right here. And also, real quick, because while they mismanage money, I try my best with it over here. So if you like what I do over here, please consider dropping a super chat or donating on my Ko-Fi page. I would appreciate it greatly. If you like content like this, please also give the stream a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Okay. Why the guild took action. When we began sharing stories and realized we had similar grievances, the HiveWorks Artists Guild set forth to outline our concerns in a series of letters shared with staff. Since then, more devastating pieces of information have come to light, but our primary complaints with their behavior as a company are outlined below. So, real quick, get on my soapbox for a minute, like I haven't been standing here already. But this is kind of like how the union at my job started, because we were all siloed off into different sections, into different groups, and we thought that our grievances were kind of unique to our situation and that other people must not be having this problem. So, we just need to buck up and get over it. But once you start talking to people and you start comparing your experiences, you realize, no, it's not me. Management just sucks. Like, management is doing too much, right? So at that point, you kind of start to build relationships with other people and realize that something needs to be done. And oftentimes that comes in the form of forming a union. Now, I have a whole opinion about why comics need to be unionized. And I have a lot of friends who agree with me as well. Some who work in the comic space, and some who are like like ones who's an educator in the comic space. And yeah, like it's a lot, but this is one of the key reasons why I think, and even though they are indie, why there do need to be some protection or some union out there for this. Because you don't want to have to see this keep happening and people to be taken advantage of. And also, if you hear noise, I live by a train, so the train's coming by, so pardon that. Um, but yeah, this is one of those things where like, creative jobs are a tight knit network, and because we don't have that union to protect us, you have to look out for yourself and for the people around you. So that's how you end up with this kind of close knit community. And yeah, you have to make sure that you keep that line of communication open, so that way if something is going wrong, you can come together and try to fix it, or you can say, hey, we're done with you, and we're going to let the people know why. So, first thing, unprofessionalism. Professional behavior needs to exist in any setting where income is on the line. Ooh. Okay, snap, snap, snap. Let us repeat that again for the people in the back. Professional behavior needs to exist in any setting where income is on the line. Amen. Overfamiliarity, oversharing, and being let in on potential sensitive business dealings were common practice at HiveWorks. Issa and Zell would often go into artists' direct messages on Discord regarding professional matters which carry great weight for the artist: book deals, crowdfunding campaigns, comic editing, etc. They sometimes gave conflicting accounts of the state of these matters, or even contradicted themselves. Oh my gosh. So, and you know what gets me too is that I am actually a manager in my day job. Like, I have a good rapport with my employees, right? Like, especially one who I've known for a while now, and like, I'm her work daughter and she's my work mom, if I had to make the relationship, give it a kind of thing, but like, we know each other very well. But there is a line where when you are in that office, you have to remember that I am over her, like, that's my employee. And you have to make sure that when you're in that setting, that line, it's right there. You can't see me, but I'm drawing a line. I'm like, you can't go past that line. Now, because I'm trying to imagine, like, just like, I'm sorry, it's blowing my mind. I'm kind of I'm stop. Let me move on because this is starting to blow my mind. Okay. They sometimes oh they every time I try to talk, the train horn goes. All right, there we go. He's passing. They sometimes gave conflicting accounts of the state of these matters or even contradicted themselves. Zell in particular was notorious for suddenly appearing in artists' direct messages to share information about the company in a nonsensical fashion that was often inappropriate for her position. In Issa's case, openness about her health struggles often felt tailored to excuse the lack of support creators received and induce guilt to anyone wanting answers. And yeah, I can see that because y'all gonna think like, oh my god, this girl got everything, but I myself have a lot of health problems, and I recently posted about a new one that I'm dealing with. But the main thing, especially if you're having these chronic issues, is to know when you have too much on your plate and when you need to stop. Like that's something that I'm doing right now at the beginning of the year is I'm going to let go some of this stuff on my plate while I deal with my health. And the fact that Issa kept like piling on, knowing that she wouldn't be able to handle this but not trust anybody else to do it, it's like you gotta kind of get over that. And like you're the boss of a company, if you don't trust anybody else to do the work, then why are you the boss? Because that's the thing, you have to delegate and hand off responsibility, because no one expects you to do it all, but they expect you to look after the people that you gave the responsibility to. Like that's the deal. um HiveWorks team members would also gossip and complain about each other and even give private details about HiveWorks as a company to outsiders. They frequently complained to artists about the stress, fatigue, or frustration they felt working for HiveWorks. Complaints from team members, notably from Issa, about not feeling appreciated by artists or even threatening to quit HiveWorks were common. Girl, if you felt that goes back, that's what I just said. If you felt overwhelmed or if you felt unappreciated, take some of that stuff off your plate because you're slowing everybody down. And you're going to hurt yourself. If you're going through all of this stuff, you're going to hurt yourself. Oh my God. Artists felt like these complaints were designed to make them feel guilty and compliant. And yeah, they're right. I can see that. That's definitely something that could be, like, oh, well, I couldn't because oh, I got all this stuff. Oh my God. After a couple of times, you try to give leeway and you don't want to seem like you're complaining or being difficult because of this. But if stuff's not getting done and it's starting to impede upon your business and you getting money or you doing what you need to do, then there is a problem that needs to be addressed. Professional friendships can exist healthily. It was not healthy here. There was a significant power imbalance present in these interactions, even when they were well-meaning. Artists saw staff members as wielding more professional power in the relationship, whether HiveWorks staff considered the artist their employee or not. Okay. 2. Lack of transparency and communication. There were many issues with general communication between staff and artists, leading to widespread frustration. The HiveWorks team, often referred to as a work queue, both in relation to website design, redesign, and to crowdfunding. This queue was never shared with the artist. Some people waited for years for help with campaigns or other projects, all while seeing newer creators or even creators from outside HiveWorks accommodated before them. In some instances, creators were left to wait indefinitely, leading artists to give up on their projects entirely or fulfill them independently. This created an impression that the queue was a convenient fiction and that the Hive team would triage based on personal preference or perceived popularity. Staff had later revealed that it was Issa who would pick which project would be greenlit, and that she had personally believed certain works in the queue were simply not, quote, money makers, and left to the wayside without telling the artists they would not be considered. Oh my God. So first of all, a work queue. I get that. You know, if you're gonna do this bass ackwards, all right, a work queue, fine, whatever. First come, first serve, whoever's in the queue. So let's say you got Sister Claire in the queue, Go Get a Roomie in the queue, and Atomic Robo in the queue. Now, Sister Claire got there first. But because Issa thinks Atomic Robo is going to make some more dough, all of a sudden Atomic Robo gets pulled up the chain. And let's say she don't like Go Get a Roomie. She just don't like it. Then it's just sitting there. And that poor creator is like, well, I'm trying to, it's like, well, I got a good project coming soon, but I don't know if I'll hear anything. Maybe this year, maybe next year, and they're just in the dark. And you have fans of this artist's work waiting to get something, waiting to see if something will come about from this. Like that's terrible. And plus, if they don't know what's going on with this project, then that's time taken away that they could have been formulating how to do it on their own, or maybe, and this is probably why they didn't do it. Because they would be like, I could go somewhere else. If you're not going to take me seriously, I could go to a different place. Because there are places, someone in the comments mentioned it, like there was an influx of people going to Webtoon. And like I said, Webtoon has its own issues, mainly when it comes to more taboo stuff. And mainly when I say taboo, I mean like more sexually explicit, sexually positive kind of stuff. But that's probably why they were all going there. They were like, I could make this a Webtoon exclusive or make a deal with them and get it done. And that's probably why they weren't saying anything, because they were like, if they know we're not going to do it, they might walk off somewhere else, and we need them. But apparently you don't think they're going to be making enough money, though, to put them first, but you still need them. That's wild, man. Artists' minimum ad revenues varied wildly with no discernible explanation, and their contracts often had different clauses. Some artists were told about the options they had while signing with HIVEWORKS, and some were not. The way HIVEWORKS presented itself publicly made it unclear how involved staff editors were in the comics they published, potentially making it seem as though they had more creative control over them than they did in reality. For example, the title of editors, as well as their role description on the site, imply editorial input is the standard for all comics at HIVEWORKS, when in reality it is optional. Many HIVEWORKS comics had no input from editors at all, yet an editor was still assigned and credited. So wait, you offer these people, so it's like, hey, you want to publish Atomic Robo here? Oh yeah, we can do that, and we can offer editing services for you. So that way you can get your comic out faster. That takes time, that you would take doing that. We can help you out with that process. Okay, cool. Motherfucker never shows up. Motherfucker never shows up, but they got an editor on your page saying that somebody looked at it, and you looking like, where? Like, where? Oh my God. And that was the thing. That was one of the things that set HIVEWORKS apart, was edited webcomics. Because webcomics are often a one-man band. You are the artist. You are the penciler, the inker, the colorer, the letterer, the editor. You are the webmaster. You are the PR team. That's why you have to really love comics, especially love the story that you want to tell if you're going to do this, because it's very thankless, to be quite honest. And as an artist, I can say a lot of art is thankless. You kind of do it because you have the need to. Like, if you don't create, you might explode, if you get what I'm saying. That's why a lot of people are like, you have to be in it for the love of the game if you're going to go into comics and not expect to like make a bunch of money, because comics will break your heart. And that's the theme here, unfortunately. And that's been a saying for a long ass time. I'm talking like back in the 70s, the 80s, the 60s. Comics will break your heart. So you really got to be in it for the love of it. Oh, oh God. HIVEWORKS routinely kept artists in the dark regarding third-party communications. Oh. Oh no. Especially concerning many of their outside publishing deals with the company 7 Seas, and never CC'd artists into conversations with them. Some artists reported seeing HIVEWORKS team members admitting to keeping information from artists regarding publishing offers in order to protect them, then deleting the statements soon after. It was common for Zell and Issa to act as the middleman or as an agent between artists and potential publishers, regardless of whether they had the qualifications or merit in doing so. Without clear communication of what was being said to the other party and lack of anything in writing, these tactics often led to dropped details and disinterest from either party involved. HIVEWORKS has never been, nor has it ever been allowed to act as an agency, yet they frequently assumed the position, especially Issa. The artists publishing with HIVEWORKS were not theirs to protect, and artists had a right to know when their work was discussed with third parties. Yo! This is kind of what I was saying earlier. So you make a deal with a manga publisher, 7 Seas, and you don't tell these people. See, this is what I'm talking about. They wanted to market off of these people's work, but not let them get a better deal from 7 Seas. They protect them. No, they were trying to hold them back to keep them on there. And you are only the hosting site. You are not an agent. I could already have an agent who it might be waiting to hear something from my hosting site that made a deal with these people. That's stifling people's ability to move forward in publishing. That's so damning. I don't know if I'm stressing just how horrible that is. That's a complete breach of trust. And just so slimy. That's so backhanded and disgusting. How dare you? Who knows what kind of opportunities and deals that were lost because of this. Oh my God. And once again, Issa being the big baller shot caller around here, apparently, even though she can't do everything, even though she's feeling unappreciated, and here you are stifling these people from moving forward in their career. Oh, and once you know it, part 3, incompetence. HIVEWORKS was plagued by an environment of hasty decisions, yeah, and poor follow-through, yeah, as well as general disorganization of information and resources, yeah. Oh my God. Oh, new ideas for events and projects were constantly floated by the Hive team, and these ideas rarely went past the initial first draft of excitement. The team was extremely distractible, and Issa in particular was severely overworked by her own design, yet refused to delegate any tasks. Oh my God. Oh my God, Issa. They got, literally, there is a job called project manager. There are motherfuckers who get paid just to manage projects. I'm losing my mind. girl, like, why does she keep, and where the fuck is the CEO in all this? See, that's what I'm talking about. Zell wanted the CEO title. From this, it seemed like she wanted the CEO title, but none of the CEO work. Because what is this? What is this? This is lunacy. That's what this is. This is straight basura. This is straight trash. This is shit out of Dodo land. Like, this don't make no sense. Like, what is this? Oh my God, comics were not labeled correctly on the HIVEWORKS site for many years. Abandoned and finished comics were listed under the same category with no distinction between them. And active comics were constantly promoted in ads and through HIVEWORKS' own ad spots. Crowdfunding campaigns would be left incomplete or would be completed very late, and HIVEWORKS would start new ones to fund the older ones, creating an incredibly disorganized queue. Also, I'm pretty sure if I'm getting my scamming correct, isn't that a Ponzi scheme? Ponzi scheme where you get money from one dude and take that money to give it to somebody else, and then use that money to pay somebody else off. And the main thing is that you have to keep getting the chain of people to pay off the person that you got the other money from. And eventually you're gonna run out of people. And that's kind of what happened here, I'm assuming. God. Late fulfillment often resulted in backlash toward the artists, which HIVEWORKS did nothing to mitigate or take responsibility for. And I know, because I've been a part of Kickstarters where they were extremely late. And like, I've tried to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially nowadays with the way that even before, during the pandemic, with the way the shipping industry was, because I deal with that now, printing and all that. I have a better understanding now, so I give more grace. And especially now with all these tariffs and everything. A lot of people don't. And the fact that all of that, because these people don't know that HIVEWORKS are the main people behind this. They don't know that they're the main publisher behind this. Because I will say this, at least Iron Circus will put they tell people we are fulfilling. Not the artists, but we are fulfilling their book. We are going through the publishers. We are going through the warehouses. We are the ones doing all of that, not the artists themselves. But these people wouldn't know that. And I know it must have hurt a lot of these creators to probably lose fans that they've had for years because of the incompetence of Issa and Zell. Like, they had no control over that. And that must have hurt horrifically. And I really hope that a lot of those people who might have been like on, who didn't get the Kickstarter, or who were a part of that group of disgruntled fans, I hope they read this and kind of know what happened and give these creators another chance, or give them some kind of grace. I really do. And once again, Issa was in charge of handling most, if not all, Kickstarters through the HIVEWORKS account, and would order massive quantities of books without the artist's consent, cutting into the originally outlined budget of the campaign. Oh. So not only that, you're going over budget. You're going over budget. Oh my God. Like, my mother and my aunt were bankers for most of my life, right? And there was one thing that my mother taught me, which was budget, and how to maintain a budget and what it actually is. A budget is an outline. It is not a permanent thing, but it's a guideline that you want to stay within. You would always rather be under than over, because if you're over budget, then you have to allocate that money from somewhere else. So like, if I got $500 for fun money and $500 for work, but I spend $600 on fun, then to balance myself back out, I got to take money from somewhere else to make myself, like, I'm sorry, I'm going to start rambling because that Red Bull's kicking in. And seeing this is getting me riled up because so not only was Issa in charge of this, she was probably also in charge of the budgeting. And that's when you really need an accountant, because Kickstarter, Indiegogo, all these places, they take a chunk of money. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. That's how a lot of these earlier Kickstarters fucked up, was because they didn't realize Kickstarter takes a big chunk of that money, mainly for tax purposes. But yeah, that's their share for hosting and for taxes and whatnot. And so you're going to end up shorter than what you initially thought. Oh my God. Artists would be left with the burden to move thousands of books with little assistance from the company after campaigns were concluded, and would occasionally be billed for staff's labor that hadn't been previously negotiated. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. So not only did she go over budget, she ain't even negotiate the labor for the people that gotta deal with the shipment, that gotta pack the book up to send it to the people. Like, oh my God. And that means that these people were probably paying out of pocket to get this stuff together. Do you know how much that cost? Let alone for a big company, but for an individual? Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Misappropriation of funds was common, with little transparency of what was owed to the artist or to HIVEWORKS for their service. One incident even saw Zell make a large personal purchase with the earnings from a Kickstarter originally meant to go toward the printing of books. Okay, so we're going to pause in this because we have to talk about this, because this is what set me over the edge. I'm not going to lie. So after this article came out, a bunch of artists who I assume are a part of that 100 that came out were like, oh, they published it, finally I can go into detail. And August Brown made a thread. You can find them at Skull Amity on BlueSky, a comic creator, a comic of the end, which I actually remember seeing way back in the day. I did not know it was still going on. I didn't know that like I said, I didn't know this was still going on. I'm so happy to know that it is. The end was something that I used to hear about a lot. Please go show it some love. It's one of them OGs from back in the day. But August Brown made a thread about this. And let me go back. Okay. So this is the story about that personal purchase that we just talked about. So August Brown said, hey, we can finally talk about this. So I would like to co-sign everything in this open letter. I would also like to tell everyone about a specific grievance that Femme Monologue and I have with Zell after the mishandling of our Kickstarter. Screen cap receipts in thread to follow. Way back in 2014, Zell basically bullied us into doing a Kickstarter. We didn't feel ready, but we felt pressured to accept because Kickstarter was not at that time open to allowing Canadians to run campaigns. The problem started pretty much right away, which is true. Kickstarter was US only, and then they slowly opened up to Canadians, and I want to say they opened up worldwide now. But it took a while. And as he says, ironically, if we just waited a little longer, Kickstarter opened to Canadians soon after that, and we could have handled everything on our own, which is what we both would have preferred. I set up the Kickstarter, messaged Zelle for feedback because I was unsure of the campaign structure and formatting, and with a tentative date that I wanted it to go live. Her response was to launch it immediately and not actually tell me she had done that. Found out it was live hours later. So that's because why? That's how you can get in trouble, because you want to make sure that everything looks good, that it's understandable to the people who you want to get to put money into it. You also want to make sure that your goals are not too far-fetched, that they're actually attainable, because that's one thing that always gets Kickstarters or Indiegogos, is that they shoot too far for the stars with their stretch goals because it sounds cool, but is it actually doable? Can you actually produce that? Probably not. So you want to make sure that it's actually realistic when you do that. But managing the Kickstarter was immediately difficult because there were two others happening at the time. Go Get a Roomie Volume 1 had just wrapped, and Yamino launched Sister Claire Volume 1 the second ours ended. And that is a problem because first of all, you're bombarding your audience. Like every time Iron Circus does a Kickstarter, I get a notification because I've backed with them before. So imagine if I backed with HIVEWORKS for Go Get a Roomie, and then all of a sudden after that, boom, I get the end, and then I'm like, well, I guess I can donate. By the time Sister Claire comes around, I ain't got no money. You're tapping out your audience too quick. You gotta give time to breathe, which would also give your creator some time to get the stuff together that they need. Because what if, like, Yamino wanted to redo the first couple of chapters of Sister Claire to get it ready for print? That's gonna take some time. So maybe in between that breathing room while you fulfill the ends Kickstarter, that could be going, so that way after that's fulfilled, then you can launch Sister Claire Volume 1. Like there's no sense of pacing, there's no sense of breathing, there's no business sense. I didn't even go to business school, but I know you can't be bombarding people like that because you're going to tap them out too quick. Boy, with so many people needing to access the same account, it was impossible to keep track of alerts and messages. Questions were directed to all three of us, and the odds that we found out about them right away were basically zero, making all three of us look like total flakes, which is true. People want to have an open line of communication during Kickstarters. That's why, like, if a Kickstarter goes quiet as soon as it's got the money, that's like a big warning sign to people. And a lot of people assume like, oh God, the creator done left and took the money and ran. But this was just pure incompetence, and it made these guys look bad. When our campaign ended, I knew I had to send out a survey. They're coming for me. Ambulance. When our campaign ended, I knew I had to send out a survey and was trying to figure out what I wanted to put on it so that I could get the info I needed, read some custom art tiers. So when I messaged Zelle about what I should include in the survey, she was like, I already sent one out. You're welcome. Ain't nobody ask you. You doing everything but what you supposed to do. Doing everything but your damn job. How you doing everything but your damn job? Girl, ain't nobody told you to do that. That's another thing, because it's assumed that if you don't have a project manager, right? If you don't have a manager over this other than Issa, then why? Well, like, it's assumed then that I'm taking over this. It's my Kickstarter. I'm taking over this, and you guys will handle the publishing. But no, Zelle decided to actually do something and decided to come out and do this shit. Doing everything but what she's supposed to do. Not to mince words, the survey was shit, didn't ask anything useful, and as a result of what would follow, causes basically endless misery for the next several years in regard to changing addresses, dead email addresses, unresponsive backers who I just wanted to give what they paid for. Oh, poor August. Keeping in mind that going into the Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that everybody can see the stuff, but because this is a long thread, but it's worth it. Keeping in mind, going into the Kickstarter, I had the book basically done outside of a few bonus pages I set aside room for in our initial quote and finished over a couple of weeks. Everything should have been good to go as soon as Zell sent the money to the correct vendors. I was told over and over that I would need to wait, excuse after excuse. It was like pulling teeth to do shit like get her to pay for some bookmarks or keychains and then later the books themselves. In the meantime, I was in the dark about our books. Even though they eventually got paid for and shipped to my house, I didn't get to see the print proof. It was sent to Issa and she didn't tell me until she got it until I asked, was told she approved it weeks ago. Never got to see it. There were issues with the book that could have been fixed if I'd seen it. Now, what kind of editor doesn't, like, even publishers, like book publishers, will send a copy of the book to the writer so they can see and go over it. And that's the editor's job, is to go over it. But it's like, what you might not know, like, I drew this character's hair wrong in this thing. Obviously, she ain't doing her editing job correctly, right? And she's the only editor on staff, apparently. You know, the only one doing all this shit, right? Or the only one that she's making herself do all this, right? So you're gonna miss some stuff. Why not give it to the creator? And also, printers will hold stuff if they don't get money depending on the contract that you have with them. So you're risking this man's reputation on being like a flake, not fulfilling money, having rumors go out about like they took the money and ran, all because you don't want to pay this. But now we know, we're going to find out why this is. Like they mentioned, it's misappropriation of funds. But, you know, initially you're thinking you're being lazy and not doing this. And when it came time to ship the books, Hive just did not have all the money at once. The excuses came. We didn't calculate Canadian shipping correctly, and we didn't make enough to cover it after printing of the books. But no worries, Hive will generously pay for the shipping. Sort of. You see, there were also shipping issues with Go Get a Roomie and Sister Claire. So what they had us do was ship small amounts of books at a time, like max 20, pay out of pocket, and then invoice them for each batch. It was a nightmare. It took 6 months to ship them all. And once again, if you're talking about, like, these are people in the US and Canada, and each state has its own, like, it might have its own shipping tax. Canada, I know you have to go through, at least now you have to go through a whole rigmarole to send stuff over there. But like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Rereading this, it just makes me upset all over again. It wasn't until 2016-ish that we found out the real reason money for all 3 Kickstarters dried up and had to be generously doled out in tiny little amounts, all the while scolding us for not being able to calculate shipping properly and not telling us when we would get upset backer messages. The real reason? Zell bought a car with the proceeds from all 3 Kickstarters. A fucking car that I don't think she ever drove, because it was supposedly for her personal assistant, who was super combative and quit like a year after the Kickstarters, so Zell sold the car. Let me read that again. The real reason Zell bought a car with the proceeds from all 3 Kickstarters. A fucking car that I don't even think she ever drove, because it was supposedly for her personal assistant, who was super combative and quit like a year after, like half a year after the Kickstarters, so Zell sold the car. So not only did she take the money that was supposed to go to the fulfillment of these books. Like they were supposed to go to a product to go to consumers. She bought it for a car, for a parent personal assistant. Now, was the personal assistant on the payroll? The personal assistant couldn't help you find some people to add on to the payroll? Like, you got money for the personal assistant, but you don't have money for the accountant. You don't have money for the lawyer. You don't have money for the project manager. You got the money for the personal assistant and the car. The car that the assistant didn't even drive. And so you sold, probably, most likely, definitely at a loss. Because the minute you drive a new car off the lot, it depreciates in value. Like, this shit blew my mind when I read it. I was like, you cannot be this goddamn ignorant, this stupid, this egotistical. Like, what is wrong with you? And to think, did she think nobody would find out? That's kind of what baffles me. Did she think nobody would find out? Because if I see you walking every goddamn day, or if you know, or something like that, and all of a sudden you pull up with the car, I'm gonna be asking some questions, you know? Especially if you like, oh, well, this car ain't for me, it's for the assistant. When the fuck you get an assistant? You got an assistant, but I don't get an assistant to help with this Kickstarter that you did that I didn't want to do, but now I got to do? Oh my God. Oh my God. Ah. See, I would be fighting. We'd have to go to the Denny's parking lot after that. Drive me in that car to the Denny's parking lot so I could whoop your ass. Because how dare you? How dare you? Really? The audacity, the unmitigated gall you have to do this and lie to these people's faces. No, we would be fighting. I would have to physically fight you. Because then you're also going to make me come out of my pocket to ship stuff to people. And you want me to invoice you. And they probably didn't get their money from that time. Or if they did, it wasn't the whole thing. Like, no, we fighting. I'm fighting. Oh my God. So after learning this information, I basically could not believe it. Bitch, me neither. The Kickstarter was over, though things were shipped. I was experiencing major burnout. I stuck with Hive. The story sounded too insane to be real, which is why it is so cathartic to have the following screen caps. And I get that because I'm baffled too. It's one of those things that you're like, no, it can't possibly. There's no way. Like, that can't happen. They wouldn't be that stupid. But there are people who are that stupid. If there's anything you take from this, know that there are people that are that stupid. These screen caps are from the last open meeting the guild had with Hive staff. I left HIVEWORKS not long after this because it seemed important to get out before the tech staff quit and there was nobody to onboard us. Here are multiple staff members acknowledging that this did happen, part 1. All right, so we got some screen caps. So Hive staff A, which I will say once again, a lot of the artists in that letter acknowledged that these staff members were trying to pretty much pick up the pieces and try to figure out what Issa and Zell did and how bad this ran. So I do not envy these people. They had a Herculean task before them. And honestly, there was really nothing that they could do. And the fact that they were saddled with this is very unfortunate. So, Hive staff A. Issa went to school for artist management, but not specifically for accounting and bookkeeping. I forget what her exact degree was in. It's in fucking stupidity is what it's in. She did have some experience through previous jobs. It was a role she stepped into because there was no one else at the time because of how badly the funds were misappropriated for our first few Kickstarters. Yes, we know the car story. Unfortunately, I had lived through it. Staff B. I did not know the car story, and as I told Meg Civ, I wanted to scream blood when I found out. Hive Staff A. I had managed to block it from my memory. Non-guild artist. Whoo boy. Yeah. So August says, I unfortunately had not. And Staffer A said, that was in the days before we had a warehouse. We were filling Kickstarters from blank. I was furious when I found out, and so was Issa. It was that incident that led to Issa taking over financials. So I guess Zell was in charge of the financials. And then Zell bought a goddamn car. Zell bought a fucking car. And everybody looking at her like, where'd you get the money from? We got 2 bus passes between us. Where the fuck you get the money from for the car? And well, non-guild artists, I remember the fury clearly and somewhat fondly because there was someone to be furious, good to have. Hi, Staff A. I think too many things had happened since them both here and elsewhere. And Ali Shaw, who Tigress Queen, said, could we trouble you to list what happened with the car story from your perspective? I feel it's relevant to add context for the current situation, especially if that's what made Issa step into her role. Staffer B said, from the way she herself explains it, Zell was under a frankly dumb assumption that she had earned some of that money from Yamino's Kickstarter because of a stipend Yamino was being paid under at the time. So because you are paying somebody, you think you're entitled to some of their, not even their money, the money that people paid to get their art? I'm sorry. I had to pause because let me take a sip of this, boy. Once again, if you like this stream, please give it a thumbs up. And if you appreciate what I do here, because I'm probably gonna end up with a headache after this, please donate to my Ko-Fi. Because God knows it's not going to Zelle. It's not going to Zelle. So you know that. God damn. Oh my God. I might need a drink after this. Shit. How I feel bad for Yamino. I've been following him since high school and Tumblr. Damn. Damn, I feel bad for them. Oh, baby. That explains why I haven't been seeing Sister Claire stuff recently. Because I just thought about that comic for a while ago because I fell off with it. And I noticed that she went on, not she, actually, I don't remember their pronouns. I'm sorry, it's been so long. But I don't I hadn't remembered seeing anything lately. Like they had been doing a lot of fan art, and I was like, oh, do they still make Sister Claire with their partner? And I saw that they were on hiatus due to health issues, but now I'm like, are they also on hiatus because of this bullshit? And I don't know, could be. I wonder if they'll make a statement. They're not on BlueSky to my knowledge, but they still are on Tumblr. So if I see anything, I might make a post about it. So Staffer A says, so our first Kickstarters were the first Sister Claire, Go Get a Roomie, and August comic. The end, from what I remember, Zell believed that the proceeds at the end of those Kickstarters belonged to her, not to the artist. Oh, I'm dying. I'm dying all over again. I'm this emoji. Girl, what the fuck? What the fuck? Oh. That's not even bad business sense. That's just entitlement. That's straight entitlement. Because what do you mean belong to her and not the artist? These are people paying for the art of the artist. And it's not all going to the artist. It's going to fulfillment. It's going to fulfillment. It's going to add-ons. It's going to tiers, and what little bit is left is going to the artist and to you all after you get your cut. You are not entitled to all of that. Oh my God, I am getting a headache. I'm getting a headache because this, Jesus Christ. Oh God, August. Oh, and that little sweet avatar of his. I'm looking at it, I feel so bad. Oh, August. I'm so sorry. Which, to be clear, was a thing she never said to any of us in capacity. No, because you all would clear the room. Or you all would end up fighting her in the Denny's parking lot. Like, no. If somebody said, oh, you worked this job for like 5 years, but you ain't got no money because, well, it's mine technically because I got you the job. We fighting. We are fighting. Okay, no. So Stafford A said no, and Issa and I didn't know either. Zell used that money to buy a car, which was used and then was later sold to someone else. Issa was furious because of this, and that's the point she took over financials from Zell and ran them until early this year, which I think this year they mean 2025, so last year. August. So from my end, I was sending messages like, hey, I need some of the Kickstarter money for bookmarks. I need money to pay for the books. I need to ship these books out now. And the response I was getting were basically along the lines of, we can't give it to you all at once. So only ship like 20 books or less per week, and we'll send you the money you spent after you ship them. And it was so sketchy, but we were so worn out by then, we just wanted it to be over. Stafford A, I had no clue about that. August, I am so sorry. Shay, important to note that misappropriation of funds contributed for a specific purpose is known as breach of trust, which is extremely illegal in Canada. At least American law may differ somewhat, but I suspect there's an equivalent there. You are most definitely correct. There's definitely an equivalent here for that, but I don't know with, the statute of limitations is the thing, because if this happened back in 2014, it's done. It's over with. That's my assumption. If there is a lawyer in here, or I might ask my other friend who actually is a lawyer, her reception on this. She doesn't really. I don't know if she would deal with this. I'll have to ask her. I think I'll ask her just out of curiosity. But Stafford A said, to be clear, this was all back in 2014. So Megan from Godslave says, fuck me, that's revolting. And yes, it is. So August said, I blocked out and labeled Thai staff participants in this conversation because they were trying to be helpful, acknowledged that this extremely kind of traumatizing several years of my life happened, and why it happened, I have no beef with any of them personally. They didn't steal from us. So we go back to these chats. So August said, around there, yes. Stafford B, I'm sorry, August, that really sucks and absolutely wasn't fair to you. It's something that will not happen again to anyone else. Shay, yeah, we were paying out of pocket eventually just to try to fulfill our promises to backers. Still couldn't get through all of them. Lost a lot of longtime supporters. It was rough. Stafford B, not to say we're not all still dealing with the damage from the previous management as we still try to fulfill current Kickstarters. Just we got to try and fix it, Saul. So Stafford A said, I am so damn sorry. Shay, to be honest, the lack of proper bookkeeping framework and legal advisor, Christ, yes, legal advisor, is a major factor once again here. The boss did a bad thing because she thought she was allowed to, and it fucked everything up. Is not at all a unique occurrence, especially in first-time or rapidly growing businesses. But that's the thing, is that you've been here for 14 years. You've been here for 14 years. You should know better by now. That's what's not clicking, is you've been here for over 14 years and this shit didn't click. Like, so August says, not to bring this back so soon, but the wording of this made something click in my head that had not until this moment. Proceeds? Did we even have proceeds? Because what Zell communicated to me was that the Kickstarter had miscalculated what shipping would cost from Canada, so we blew through all of it and Hive covered the rest. I did not question this at the time because it made sense with the runaround we'd be given, but like, was that even true, or did Zell just say this and kept whatever was left after it was finally all shipped because we made zero profit on that, according to Zelle. No, yeah, we never saw a dime from that. So I suspect as well that Zelle pocketed that money. I think Zelle pocketed that money to use it to buy that fucking car. I think they did that. I do not have definitive proof, but I think that that's what they did because it falls into place too well. Staffer A, at this point, it's near impossible to answer. I don't even think our current bank accounts were open until 2016, and Kickstarter has locked down all older backer reports. So then this brings up another question. If the current bank accounts were open to 2016, and you had this Kickstarter in 2014, was this money going into their personal bank accounts? Was there commingling of funds going on here? Because for Kickstarter, you have to have it connected to a bank account. Like, you have to. So, and if the current business bank accounts weren't open till 2016 and these Kickstarters happened in like 2014, 2015, was this money going to their personal accounts? Is that why she thought she could keep it? So not only do we have misappropriation of funds allegedly, but we also might have commingling of funds, that's fucking fantastic. Oh, I know an auditor is just gonna be crying to sleep tonight trying to deal with this, if they even thought to get an auditor, because you got your work cut out for you. Oh my God, this is the more I think about it, the more my head spins. Like, oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. And yeah, it would be so long ago, you wouldn't be able to see that stuff. If Kickstarter even keeps stuff from that far back. Oh, my God. We can put in a request to reopen those, but tracking the money itself is something I'm not even sure can be done. I know it's a bullshit answer. If you two are comfortable with it, I can ask Issa for what she remembers about it. My involvement with your Kickstarter was the book layout. So so this person used to do the book layouts, and now they over here trying to shovel through this shit. Oh, my God. I feel so bad for these people. These two dodos just blew up the fucking place, and now it's up to these people to shift through the ashes to try to find something for these people. That's terrible. August said, honestly, I have no idea if any of us would ever be able to know, because of how much Zelle buying a car would have made a mess of everything on top of all the other messes those three Kickstarters made. It's going to come down to a situation where Zelle can say, no, that's true, Hive paid for shipping because the Kickstarter ran out of money, and there's not really anything any of us could ever say to dispute that at this point. Staffer A says that's correct, and that majorly sucks. B says it's not something we're happy about. It's why neither Zelle nor Issa are involved in these decisions any longer. So I'm assuming that they were not ousted, but they were essentially put on the back burner. How, I don't know. We might get into that more in the official statement. Shay says, well, I mean, we could force a deeper investigation, but that would involve literally pressing charges, and I don't think that's in anyone's best interest. Oof, well, let's move on with the Airtable stuff if we can. I need to go to sleep soon, and there were some questions on there I wanted to see the answers for. And yeah, the thing is that if you try to go through to litigation, that's a whole other headache. God, I feel so bad for these people. All right, now the big question. Why didn't I leave? I just wanted to make comics. I was so overwhelmed, and outside of this Kickstarter, they were still hosting me, providing tech support, another issue covered by the letter, and giving me traffic I wouldn't otherwise be getting. The Kickstarter was over and done. I thought that if I stuck around long enough, they'd get to me. They'd rebuild my site like they kept promising. They'd actually advertise us again. Things would get better. I joined the guild when it became clear that we were going to have to force those changes if we wanted them to happen. And for 3 years, we sincerely sincerely tried to collectively bring up issues, offer solutions, offer to pick up slack, offered unpaid labor, because we wanted conditions to improve, not just for ourselves, but for the Hive's entire catalog. It was both infuriating and soothing to discover that it wasn't just us experiencing this, and we wanted to make things better. We were willing to put in that work if Hive staff was willing to work with us. But the revelation of the massive debt Hive managed to accrue by leapfrogging the funds from an endless line of Kickstarters to pay for the last, all leading back to that money pit Zell created when she decided to buy a car with Kickstarter proceeds. The fact that Zell wanted to solve this money pit by, checks notes, making another Kickstarter, that was it for us. It was for a lot of guild members. I spent most of the past year rebuilding our site from scratch for a clean start. And it came out nice. It came out really nice. And, real quick, because you're looking at this symbol right here, right? And one thing that I noticed when I got on to BlueSky recently was that this new group called the Chimera Comics Collective came about. And I'm always looking for, like, new comic places. But this is pretty much where all the old... Sister Claire is here. She moved. But this is pretty much where all the old HiveWorks people are at now, is at the Chimera Comics Collective. They are also on BlueSky. I will show you their page in a second. This is the OG post. Let me see here. There we go. Because I started following them when they popped up, but I had no idea that they spawned from this. But they're here. Please go support. But yeah, you can find... Yeah, like, because I saw that Nigh Heaven and Hell was doing a crowdfunder, and Ghost Jug Sickness was as well. And as you can see, those campaigns were successful. We're hoping that they have learned from these people to do the right thing. Tiger's also here. Like, we got all the good ones. Claw Shot, which I actually bought a physical version of Claw Shot #1. They were at C2E2. I want to say a couple of years ago. But Ghost Jug Sickness, Go Get a Roomie, God Slave, Night Heaven and Hell, Phantom Marine, like the end, Harpy G, boy, that's a throwback, ain't it? But yes, they are all here. Please go show support. Getting back to the thread. So, and now that I'm now that I'm free, let me just tell you that I'm relieved that I never signed an NDA, and that Zell was so lazy that she lapsed with nearly everyone in the entire catalog's contracts over the years. I hadn't had a valid contract with them since 2018. They let the contracts lapse. Then y'all were really there for the love of the game. Because if I found that out, I'd have been out that bitch. I would have slapped both of them in the face and left. Oh my God, y'all were really in it for the love of the game and for trying to help the crew out. Oh my God, All this to say, don't work with these people. I hope that Zell takes this as a hint that she should retire from the comic scene completely, and we never hear another thing from or about her. If you see Zell starting a new comics adjacent or creative collective or venture, run. I co-sign. And I see in here, isn't this fraud? Yes. Earlier I said if I am getting my my scam right, this is a Ponzi scheme. Okay? And I will post actually I think I'll make a, cuz I don't know how let me see here. Cuz I don't know how this would turn out in in YouTube. Let me see if I just type it out. But let's see here. Comics. So chimeracomics.org. Let's see here. I don't think it'll work like that, but I'll make sure to make a post on BlueSky if you follow me there. If you don't follow me over there, and I'll also make a post on my YouTube with the link as well. But they are chimeracomics.org. Go give them a hit. So we're gonna go back to the document, but that's why I paused, because we had to, like, they put it in more professional terms in this. With misappropriation of funds was common, with little transparency what was owed to the artist or to HIVEWORKS or for their service. One incident even saw Zell make a large personal purchase with the earnings from a Kickstarter originally meant to go toward the printing of books. Yeah, it was the car. That personal purchase was a fucking car that she didn't even drive. That's why I'm like, no, we gotta stop so y'all know just how bad this was. This was a fucking car that she didn't even drive. So, much of HIVEWORKS' financial history and strategy was kept vague by Zell, who would constantly infuse money into the company from her work abroad, while also complaining that the HIVEWORKS business model wasn't designed to make money. So, Zell had a day job and was taking the money from that to put it into here, when she had money from a goddamn Kickstarter that she could have used with okay. Much of HIVEWORKS' financial history and strategy was kept vague by Zell, who would constantly infuse money into the company from her work abroad, while also complaining that the HIVEWORKS business model wasn't designed to make money. We never had a clear idea of what she was doing to earn this money, but we were always reassured that the money was consistent and legitimate. Oh yeah, because that's what you I can assure you this money was received legitimately. Don't ask no questions. Don't ask no questions. Just know I got it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. She would also take it upon herself to complain frequently in the official HIVEWORKS Discord server about how overworked she was in attempts to inspire gratitude and or guilt from the creators present. Bitch, that ain't our fault. Oh, the audacity. The unmitigated gall. How dare you? How dare you? How fucking dare you? What? Yo. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. Sorry, I just had to, oh. Like I said, we be fighting. We'd be fighting. It'd be whoo, have you looking like Jake Paul in that ring in a minute, boy. Ooh, okay. After more communication with our colleagues at Slipshine, that's right, we got a whole other company. I forgot that fast that she bought another company, the adult comics company Slipshine. So she's been fucking over 2 businesses. This is just the HIVEWORKS story. We ain't got the Slipshine story. So oh, baby. Oh, so we have learned that funds have been mismanaged between HIVEWORKS and Slipshines for years, with Slipshine being partially harmed by this financial disarray because they were probably commingling funds again. Because she was probably taking money. So he was probably taking money from her job and putting it into something else. He's probably putting it into Slipshine. and then taking that slip shine money and putting it in. This bitch only knows how to run Ponzi schemes. She only knows how to do Ponzi schemes. But is that what her job is? She goes to the Ponzi school of fucking people over? Did she graduate magna cum laude? I'm bouncing in my seat. I can't fucking believe this. I forgot completely about Slipshine. So she's literally been fucking over 2 companies this whole goddamn time. And if Slipshine people decide to get like the HIVEWORKS folks, I cannot wait for that. Oh my God. Oh, for those who came in late, let me get through this last section, and I'll try to summarize a bit of what we've been through in the last 2 hours. And I'm sorry it's taken 2 hours to get through this, but as you can see, there's a lot of stuff to break down, because when you literally, if you think about it for more than like a nanosecond, the shit doesn't make sense, and it makes you mad. So, the pandemic was often blamed for management issues. You've been around 14 years. You can't blame the pandemic on you fucking up when you've been here for 14 years. I don't understand. You've been here for 14 years. You've been here for 14 years. You're gonna blame the pandemic for this? Y'all. Okay. I'm about to lose it. I'm about to have a Joker moment. I can't fucking believe this. Okay, the pandemic was often blamed for management issues, but many members of the guild joined HIVEWORKS years before it started, and they confirmed that these issues have existed for far longer than the pandemic. In general, the HIVEWORKS team had no grasp of their own abilities and time limits, and artists' hopes and requests were often left to wither. Oh. Part 4, general lack of respect. Baby, that's all of this. All of this is a general lack of respect. In fact, it's plain fucking insulting. I'm mad for all of y'all. Quite frankly. Issa and Zell spoke from a point of view of complete authority and experience, and consistently presented themselves as experts with invaluable industry experience. Yes, I learned from I was about to make an Enron joke and date my fucking self, but they might as well. I learned from the Bernie Madoff School of Finance, so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to running a business. Ooh. In reality, their experience was mostly limited to HIVEWORKS, a company which had been struggling for a majority of its lifetime. There was a consistent, trust us, we know best attitude from both of them, and artists often felt condescended to and left questioning their own experience and viability of their work. Over the years, many creators were given particularly damaging advice, usually by Issa. There she go again. To help improve their work. The advice given was often tonally dissonant from the general artist's intent and often lacked relevance, and probably reverence, due to Issa or other editors not being fully aware of the scope of each comic. So there are other editors. Did Issa just not let them do their job? Since she seemingly took control of every other goddamn thing in this company, including being the main editor? Many times the editor had simply not put in the time to read the stories they were providing feedback for. It was a common suggestion from Issa specifically in later years to create additional gag comic on the side to promote the artist's main line of work, but this side comic would not be signed into the company's catalog or gain their support. The general tone was always, "We have accepted your comic, but we don't like it, nor do we believe in it. You should have done it my way." Then why sign my comic? If you didn't believe in it and you don't think it makes money, why the fuck am I here? Why am I wasting my time with you? See, this is abusive shit. This is to me, this is abusive shit. Because if you didn't like it, and that's one thing for those who came in late, Issa is like pretty much the main person running all this. Zell is noted as CEO, but doesn't have any responsibility pretty much. It all falls under Issa, including picking what comics to sign on and also which ones get priority in their queue of like getting promotion, Kickstarters, all that kind of shit, right? So if you don't like it, if you think it's going to be a money pit like they mention she does up here, a lot of the in one of these sections they mention that, then why am I here? Obviously you think there's something there. You think there's something there, but you just want to downplay me. Why? Why? Oh, here we go. This is why. Many artists were spoken to in this way when they were first signed, and many saw as an attempt to humble them or make them feel grateful to HIVEWORKS. That doesn't build gratefulness, that builds resentment. Several of us thought we were the only ones to be belittled like this, only to be horrified and comforted to learn of how widespread this mistreatment was. See, what kind of work environment are you setting up? You know what? Okay, here's another work story. For those who came in late, I am a manager in my day job. I have people under me. There was one time when there was a new person on board, and I had already scheduled a vacation, I left. Came back, my manager said, "Hey, this guy was kind of screwing up while you were gone. Follow him, see where he's messing up," right? So I come out and I go, "Hey, I heard that you might be having some trouble with this stuff. I'm just going to follow you and see what's happening." He got offended. He was like, "Well, I know how to do my job. I don't really see why you're over here looking at me." And I said, "Hey, my job is to help you. My job is to help you. And that includes making sure that if you don't know what's going on, that you tell me and I can help you out. Like, if you have a question, if you're struggling, that's my job, is to help. That's part of a manager's job, is to help. Like, if you don't feel comfortable coming to me to say, 'Hey, I messed up on this,' or 'Hey, I need help with this,' what kind of environment am I making? And I'm not only fucking you up, I'm fucking the whole production up. Like, what kind of environment is this?" Oh my God. That's how you build resentment. That's how you build distrust. That's how you build a toxic environment. And it's not even like by mistake. This seems by design. And that's what's fully baffling me, is that this seems like it was planned out by design. And I want to know where they learned this from. Did it sprout from that little walnut called a brain racking around in that big dome of theirs? Or did they learn this from somewhere else? I want to know where this came from, because we got to find it and stop it. Oh my God. I'm going to take another sip of, I finished the Red Bull, but I have a sip of Coke here. But like I said, please like the stream, because oh my God, I'm probably gonna have a migraine after this. Oh Jesus. Artists report in many cases of micromanagement and steamrolling in both their storytelling choices and artistic decision in the presentation of their work, such as in the book cover design process. Issa would often have the final say in what went on the cover, regardless of the artist's wishes. And this is what I was saying. If you have editors, why are you not letting them do their goddamn job? Editors are meant to do stuff like that, but Issa always has to be the one to mosey on in here and do it instead. Why? And they said earlier in the document that Issa had all these health problems, and she bring it up saying like, oh, it's so much for me and I'm so sick and blah blah blah. But you constantly add more shit on your plate. Like, and according to the Hive people, you have editors. Why are you not letting them do their job of editing? Oh my God. When it comes to design decisions for artists' own projects, the final word will always belong to the artist, and that artist should be included in design for the duration of the project. Yes, you should. That's why so I actually got this book series from Shelley Bond, a very well-known comic book editor, about making comics and editing, and her, it's kind of like a biography mixed in with that and everything, right? Like a memoir and everything mixed in with that, right? But it's very helpful, got some useful advice, and I highly recommend that y'all see it. Plus, she also has a new revised version of the first book, Filth and Grammar, because it had a quote in there in a segment from Neil Gaiman before we found out about the way that fucker was. And she took it out, which is very good and commendable, because I know shit like that is not cheap to fix and edit. So thank you, Shelley, for doing that. And I highly recommend that you guys, if you are interested in comic book making or editing, and just kind of like the world around comics, go check out Shelley Bond's books. Sorry, not sponsored, but I just talking about comic book editing and all this other shit, and having looked at those books and have them be like my reference for a lot of stuff, I'm fucking baffled. Like, this is baseline stuff. I mean, like, baseline stuff. Like, what experience do you... Obviously, they don't have any experience. I mean, I don't have that much experience in the comic book world, but even before picking up this stuff, I know not to do that. There was also a tendency by the team to shut down ideas by artists in the HIVEWORKS Discord before having time to meaningfully consider them. Even if the ideas were not viable, this fed the notion that the Hive team was not interested in listening to their artists. Often questions and suggestions made in the Discord were treated as though they were a concern that must be responded to immediately, rather than being taken as an attempt to open an ongoing conversation between multiple people. Staff reacted defensively or aggressively when any matter was brought to light by their clients, making most conversations tense and unyielding. So that's something else that we found out too. Was that, for those who are just joining us, was that there was a part in here where... I'll reread this section because this relates to that one. So, in lack of transparency and communication, we find this out. HIVEWORKS routinely kept artists in the dark regarding third-party communications, especially concerning many of their outside publishing deals with the company 7Cs, and never CC'd artists into conversations with them. Some artists reported seeing HIVEWORKS team members admitting to keeping information from artists regarding publishing offers in order to protect them, then deleting the statement soon after. It was common for Zell and Issa to act as the middleman or as an agent between artists and potential publishers, regardless of whether they had the qualifications or merit in doing so. Without clear communication of what was being said to the other party and the lack of anything in writing, these tactics often led to dropped deals and disinterest from either party involved. HIVEWORKS has never been, nor has it ever been, allowed to act as an agency, yet they frequently assume the position, especially Issa. The artists publishing with HIVEWORKS were not theirs to protect, and artists had a right to know when their work was discussed with third parties. So essentially, they blocked them. They blocked them from any information about possible movement with their series by acting as an agent, which they didn't have the authority to do. Some of these people might have already had an agent, but they might have been waiting to hear from Seven Seas to contact them. But because the deal with Seven Seas was through HiveWorks, they probably felt, it's our deal. It's not your deal. It's our deal. So we're going to barter for your stuff. Like, it's so wild. But that goes back to this, where they feel like artists should be grateful. And they should feel grateful, and like, you're not respecting me enough, and you're not being humble enough, when they're literally like keeping these people from advancing. Oh my God. My heart hurts for these people, because I said it before earlier, was that when you make comics, you really have to do it for the love of the game, because you can't go into this expecting to make buku bucks, right? Like, you have to do it for the love of the art and for the story that you want to tell and for the medium, the creativity of it, because you're not going to make a lot of money from this, and you're probably not going to be like a big star. Like, I think that's the one thing that pop culture, especially bringing up comics more in pop culture, has people thinking like, oh, I can make a comic and then make a franchise out of it, blah, blah, blah. No, the baby, that's like 1 in 10 million. 1 in 10 million, okay? You don't automatically just do that. And some of these ones that are out now have been out for years. Like Invincible had been out for years. The Walking Dead had been out for years. Like, you just don't get that overnight. And that's why the phrase comics will break your heart is damn near timeless, because it will. And it's mainly because people like this will come in and really fuck you up. And it can fuck up your love of the art and of the medium. And I hate it when that happens. I really do. I hate it when that happens. Sorry, it really does hurt me, because I like this medium. Some of the best stories are told through here, and some of the more creative stories and creative artists and creative ways of telling stories come through comics. And to see creators who make this wonderful medium what it is be treated like this, especially when it comes to, like, HiveWorks was the home for a lot of queer and POC comics, and you're gonna treat these people like this, when especially now we desperately need these stories and we need these creators. It's insulting to not just them, but to everybody in the medium. To me, like, how fucking dare you? That's why I get so mad. Not just the obvious incompetence, not just the obvious like dumpster fire this is, or rather garbage pyre this is. Like, on a deeper level, it's so upsetting. In a surprising moment of clarity in spring of 2024, HiveWorks sent out a survey asking for feedback on the company and its services. While the survey was oddly personal in some questions and uncomfortable in others, many artists took that as an opportunity to share honestly about how they felt about their time with the company and what they had been providing until that point. Although we were hopeful for staff to take this feedback in good faith, it was largely ignored. Some staff refused to read the responses altogether. Then why did you ask? Then why did you ask? You wanted to be lied to? My company did that. They had Gallup come in and everything, do a specialized survey, and when they got the answers they thought they didn't want, they got answers they didn't want. And I know my manager, he kind of tried to keep brushing it off, saying like, oh, well, this was done with people who aren't here anymore, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, 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 no. We got deep problems. We got real deep problems. And problems like that only fester. They fester, especially if you don't do anything or if you only try to placate it. If you don't take it seriously, people get fed up. And that's eventually how we got our union. People fed the fuck up. And they demanded a change that they could see. And that brought in the union. All right, so the history of the guild. So this document was made by the HIVEWORKS Guild, which is comprised of 100 past and present HIVEWORK comic creators. And that's another thing that I mentioned at the beginning of this, was that this is over 100 people. 100 people. 100 people who stuck with this madness for 3 years to try to make it work because they loved doing these comics and they wanted to see this be successful. That's another reason why I'm pissed. They stuck with y'all for 3 fucking years trying to make this work, and you just spit in their faces. And then they gave up after nothing became of it, and after they found out that the company was over $340,000 in debt. $340,000 in debt. Now, I also know that a car don't cost that goddamn much. But that's also the misappropriation of funds from all those Kickstarters. And God knows, and that's probably, and once again, that's only on the HIVEWORKS side. We don't even know the Slipshine side. We haven't even been, like, nobody on that end has said anything. God knows if they can even come up with anything like a fragment of a number. So the history as a guild, our history as a guild. The guild began from a few HIVEWORKS creators speaking in DMs about the above grievances, leading to the formation of a quickly expanding group. We first decided to attempt offering help to HIVEWORKS not as a guild, but as individual members wanting the company to improve. We focused on the lack of marketing as a problem we could help fix. Awareness of HIVEWORKS has dwindled over the years, so some of us tried to push for a community effort, making our own ads and trying to present marketing ideas for the company as a whole. HIVEWORKS demanded that we cease collaborative advertisement among fellow artists. Only HIVEWORKS could be responsible for its own marketing, and clients might misrepresent it. Oh, let me finish reading this. Realizing that more needed to be done, we sent our first letter to the HIVEWORKS Guild in the spring of 2023, listing several grievances and presenting the argument that HIVEWORKS cannot provide the services it claims to offer. Pushing back on the idea that we misunderstood HIVEWORKS, we sought clarity for what the company actually was. HIVEWORKS responded by saying they simply do not have the budget to offer all of their advertised publishing services. So you're misleading people by telling them that we can set up your website, we can help you edit, we can help you create Kickstarters and fulfill your books. You're lying to them to get them to sign a contract. Oh. I'm sorry, I had to pause, like, because I'm sorry, I had to pause, because I'm just, okay. This led to a back and forth where HIVEWORKS eventually decided they were not a publisher, but rather a service provider. And we were not its creators. We were its clients. This was meant to take pressure off of HIVEWORKS, but only led to a muddying of its mission statement. Issa left HIVEWORKS in early 2024, and Zell left the HIVEWORKS Discord in early 25. Thanks to their departures, communications between the guild and existing staff finally became more productive and open. With this new transparency came clarity on financial issues. Many of our members discussed how much they were owed from previous Kickstarters, but were continually told that HIVEWORKS as a whole was in no financial danger. Well, I can't really blame. So we mentioned, if you're coming in late, that this thread, which was done by August Brown, who is the creator of the End webcomic, he noted that with his Kickstarter money for the End, that that money was used to buy all three Kickstarters that at the time, so him, Sister Claire, and Go Get a Roomie, that the funds for that Kickstarter was used to buy Zell's assistant a car. And the assistant didn't even use the fucking car, was gone half a year after the Kickstarters happened, and Zell sold the goddamn thing. So, boom, money gone. But he put in screen caps from a conversation where pretty much there's the cleanup crew. Hive staff members who are there to pick up the pieces that Issa and Zell left. So Issa left in 2024, Zell left in 25. And these poor bastards are left there trying to shift through the asses. Yeah, trying to shift through the ass of this. Because it is. This whole situation is ass. They're left shifting through shit to try to find a way to like make sense of all this and know where the company stands and trying to maybe find some resolution in all this. Because in the beginning of the year, let me see if I can find the article. In the beginning of the year of 2025, HIVEWORKS actually dissolved. HIVEWORKS actually got rid of their publishing division. So, let me see here. Okay, so this is from the Comics Journal, if I can. There we go. So, the Comics Journal had an article along with Comics Beat. Exclusive, HIVEWORKS Comics announces it will end print publishing division. And this is from April of last year. HIVEWORKS Comics is winding down operations over the course of 2025 to focus primarily on its web services, hosting, ads, and technical support for webcomic artists. Its print and publishing division, which include producing, licensing, marketing, and distributing comics, will close. All comics for which HIVEWORKS has printed and publishing rights are being released back to their creators. HIVEWORKS will complete fulfillment for several outstanding comic crowdfunding projects, after which its crowdfunding services will cease. Warehouse services for artists will also cease, and HiveMill, its managed storefront, will be limited to print-on-demand services and sale of products purchased wholesale from artists. A clearance sale on many goods will run in HiveMill from mid-April through May 31st before arrangements are made to return remaining product to artists. HIVEWORKS remain committed to helping art. Blah blah. So if we look at the timeline, Zell probably left early 2025, and the cleanup crew is coming in to go like, okay, well, we're just going to close down. We're not doing any more Kickstarters. We're going to try to fulfill the ones we got. We're not doing print services or warehouse services anymore. Like, they are closing in on the operations, making it smaller, most likely to try to finish off that, to get out all that extra stuff so they can try to figure out what the debt is at the end of this. And I don't envy them. That's terrible. That's fucking terrible to have to go through all this, because you know that these people were not keeping books like that. In fact, in those posts from August Brown, in the thread, let me see here. Like I said, this was a long thread, but where'd it go? In these screenshots, this part here, for those who missed it, Zell felt that the money that these artists earned from those Kickstarters, she was owed. Like, she felt that with the Amino Sister Claire Kickstarter, because Amino got a stipend for it from HiveWorks, that Zell should have got some of that money. Yeah, that's the kind of people that we're dealing with. Um, Yeah, and like Shay said, breach of trust in Canada. I'm sure we have an equivalent here, but these poor people are left to get the So not to say we're not still dealing with the damages from the previous management as we try and fulfill current Kickstarters. Just we gotta try and fix it. It's all. So yeah, they're trying to fix all of this, and their books here. Staffer A mentions because August had a realization not to bring this back so soon, but the wording of this made something click in my head that had not until this moment. Proceeds, did we even have proceeds? Because what Zell communicated to me was that the Kickstarter had miscalculated what shipping would cost from Canada, so we blew through all of it and Hive covered the rest. I did not question this at the time, but pretty much Zell told him that you all didn't make a profit because you miscalculated the shipping on this, and August had to pay out of pocket for the shipping on all those books. And Hive staffer A said that the current bank accounts weren't open until 2016, but these Kickstarters ran in 2014. So that's a whole other thing right there. And I think that because in order to have a Kickstarter, you have to have it connect to a bank account that someone was that was their personal account, not a business account. If this is the business account that was open in 2016, 2014 had to be the personal account. And then August said, this person said, like, they, like, Kickstarter, you could probably request to reopen all that, but you couldn't, like, they couldn't track the money, I don't think, if they tried, especially if the business account was open till 2016. Like, it it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. Um, Realizing that more need to be done. Oh, right, the left in so current developments. All right, this is where we're at. In the time since Issa's departure from HiveWorks and Zell's departure from the Discord, the guild was excited to work with the remaining HiveWorks staff to salvage things. At first, there was a renewed hope for better communication, but a number of events soured the experience. We're now left with a situation that has gone from bad to far, far worse. In early 2025, the guild learned that HiveWorks was substantially more financially troubled than previously reported. They had a combined $340,000 debt from years of mismanagement of Kickstarters, failure to pay the company that hosts the Hive Mill shop, and other smaller financial failings on behalf of Zell and Issa. One staff had also admitted in one of the company meetings between staff and artists that around $15,000 was stolen from the company's PayPal in 2023, adding to the financial stress staff had only become aware of after Issa's departure in 2024. We also learned that remaining staff were also owed $17,000 from the company, but had kindly decided to defer their own paychecks to help fund our departures from HiveWorks. Oh. Oh. Oh my God. So, oh my God. Let me pull out the calculator. So not only do we have, hold on, let me get this on Google. Let me pull out the Google calculator so y'all see what I'm looking at. Cause I'm about to be sick. I'm about to be sick to my damn stomach. Oh my God. What in the fuck? Okay. So we got what? 34. Come on, you. I was like, it's stunned too. It don't even want to bother. $34,000. Shit don't want to work. I don't blame you, bitch. I don't blame you. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, okay. 34,000 34,000 plus what did it say? So 15,000 that was stolen, which can we be sure that it was? Look, recently I've gotten some word of like organizations that I deal with in my own life that where money has been taken, and I'm not saying, I'm not saying definitely. This is all alleged, my opinion, whatever, and the experience of these people. But that looks fishy. That look real fishy. That look real fishy. And then we're also going to include the 17,000 because while these people are being nice, way too nice, then they have the right to be, like they forego their money to help out these artists. God damn. So we're looking at now $372,000 that we know of at this point, not including Slipshine. God knows what else. Because, like I said, if the company account didn't exist until 2016, then we got 2 years of blank. And God knows how often the funds were commingled between HIVEWORKS and Slipshine, given that we have evidence of that happening, or rather testimony of that happening. Golly. In light of such an enormous announcement, staff put forth their best solution for the debt, a Kickstarter to save HIVEWORKS. Guild members disagree with this idea on both scope and principle. To fix Kickstarter debt with another Kickstarter seemed unwise, and there was no concrete plans on what the items could be sold, much less why anyone would buy them. We held that the $340,000 debt was unlikely to be remedied by a fundraiser in any significant way. With the rejection of this plan, whatever hope of working together with staff quickly crumbled yet again. And I get it too. I get it. You can, but it's kind of like one of those like last ditch effort of like, let's have a bake sale, let's sell lemonade, like because you can't think of nothing else. Because like I personally wouldn't know what to do with the $340,000 debt. I mean, I got debt from school and from other things, but like I wouldn't know how to handle that on my own, let alone how to handle it to keep a company afloat. God damn. Since the Kickstarter proposal, many HIVEWORKS members have judged the situation to be too massive to solve and have cut ties with the company before any likely implosion or potential legal battle. Yeah, this ship is sinking. And the thing is, the icebergs were on it the whole goddamn time. They were the ones driving the ship. And it sunk under the weight of their own ego. God damn. Oh my God. Yeah, you gotta leave. There's no salvaging this. HIVEWORKS is gonna have to close. And they stuck these people with the bill. That's so fucked up. They stuck these people with the bill. Damn. Some of those who remain have unpaid debts, unresolved contract issues, and merchandise that will sit in the warehouse until it is either shipped out, which is currently not an option financially, or destroyed. HIVEWORKS is now run by a skeleton crew, and remaining members receive little to no communication about their outstanding troubles. Members of the guild also began to form our own web room in late 2024, when it began to become clear that some that even if HIVEWORKS did not outright collapse, it would also not provide many of the services it promised. The Chimera Comics Collective, as the new web ring has been named, is now mutually exclusive with HIVEWORKS catalog. It exists to help cross-promote member comics via social media, something HIVEWORKS was failing to do, and the embedded jump bar, an aspect of HIVEWORKS that guild members agreed would be missed if they were to leave the network. And that's true. That was a lot. That was how a lot of the comics got connected. When you saw that logo, you were like, oh, these must all be under like the same people. And that was like that helped a lot with cross promotion. Like you could get an audience like here, like you could get an audience that, let's say, liked not cyanide happiness, but like Cassiopeia Quinn, that might like Ride or Die. Oh my God, Ride or Die, get out of there! Ride or Die, leave, get out of there! Oh no, get out of there! Don't do it! Oh, oh no! And yeah, oh my God, cause Trying Cumin, I think, had another Kickstarter to deal with. Oh no, Emmy, no, no. But look at how barren this has gotten. This used to be like, I can't tell y'all that this page used to be full. Like you could scroll down for so many comics, and this is all who's left. Probably because they joined recently, probably because of the comic is done, probably because of like other reasons that they can't disclose, but like, oh my God, the more I think about this, the more sad I get. Golly, that's just... Oh, I remember this. No Need for Bushido. Oh my God. Check Please was on here. I actually have the first physical book of Check Please. My friend introduced it to me way back in the day, and Ngozi was at C2E2, and I got her one and got it signed. And I think they got optioned for a show because gay hockey is in, everybody. Oh my God. So I'm gonna read this last statement, and then I'm gonna take a break, go to the bathroom, and all that. And I encourage you all to do that too, because then I'm just gonna skip to the. Let me see here. Oh yeah, I can do that. And we're gonna go through that, and I'm gonna try to go through as much as I can with statements from different artists that posted on BlueSky today. I didn't expect this to go through that long, but I didn't also expect to have such a visceral reaction to the incompetence on display. Like, damn. But our hopes. We, the members of the HIVEWORKS Artists Guild, wish to share our story publicly in order to clarify recent events and to explain recent actions taken by several of our members. We also hope to prevent future disasters like this and to provide a warning to anyone hoping to work professionally with Isabella or Zalette. We also hope to further the discussion of creator abuse in our industry, which is becoming, unfortunately, all too common. We also wish to give our gratitude to the Cartoonist Co-op, the Slipshine. Oh, the Slipshine people got a guild. The Slipshine people got a guild. Where's y'all? Where's y'all statement? Where's y'all statement? Oh, put it up, put it up, put it up, put it up. I can't wait. Put it up. Oh. And the remaining staff that helped artists leave HIVEWORKS. The offboarding process has been long and difficult, but was made far easier by those who supported us. The co-op in particular has taken action to assist artists in moving their websites off of HIVEWORKS servers and its independent hosts, as well as volunteering space in co-op members' homes, for merch and book storage until a more permanent solution could be arranged. That's community. That's true community. Comic artists are innately passionate about our work, and that passion can easily be preyed upon by entities seeking financial gain or some other form of clout. Our guild only exists because we were all brave enough to reach out to each other, advocate for ourselves, and eventually speak as one. HIVEWORKS is one story in a sea of stories like this. We hope whoever reads this can prevent other stories like ours from being written. That's it. Like I said before, they are unfortunate. This is not uncommon. And the fact that it's not uncommon, especially in the indie space, is outrageous. And we gotta figure out what to do about this. This horrific mismanagement. Like, it's so outrageous. And like they said, these people are being taken advantage of because of their love for comics, their love for creating, and obviously the community that they fostered here. It's sad. It's sad, man. It's sad. All right, I'm gonna go real quick. If you need to go to the bathroom, if you need to go get you a drink, when we come back, we'll be going through the co-op statement, how you can help these artists, and a couple of extended testimonies that artists have been putting out on BlueSky today to go over, just to kind of go over and get a more personal view of what's been happening behind the scenes with specific people. All right, so I will see you all in a bit.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands while the walls come tumbling down. They do, I'll be right behind you. So glad we've almost made it. So sad they had to hate it. Everybody wants to rule the world. I can stand this indecision, married with a lack of vision. Everybody wants to rule. Say that you never needed one headline, why believe it? Everybody wants to rule the world. Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world.
Hi, folks. We're back. And we're going to read through the co-op statement, how you can help. And like I said, we're going to be going through a couple of statements, personal antidotes from artists that have been dealing with all of this mess. That was a harrowing read. And I really do wish all of these artists, all the people left having to sort through this mess, the best of luck. Um, and I can tell you, Issa and Zell, y'all got off so lucky. Y'all really got away with bullshit, true bullshit. Like, mm, 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 mm. So the Cartoonist Cooperative Actions Committee statement. Overall, the Cartoonist Cooperative is a member-driven organization that supports cartoonists in all stages of their career. We are dedicated to fostering an environment where our members can freely discuss taboo subjects, such as pay discrimination and pay disparities, in order to help push for better working conditions within our industry. We advocate strongly for our members and take seriously any concerns raised to us about bad practices within the industry, aiming to expose said issues in order for better practices to be created. Now, I kind of said before that I believe that comics needed to be unionized, but the Cartoonist Cooperative is kind of the closest that we'll probably ever get to that. And I thank them for all of their work that they do. We also feel it is tantamount to spread awareness around the social and economic issues that are affecting cartoonists today, as well as use our unique skills as cartoonists to help advocate for broader issues outside of our immediate industry, and as showcased by our widely successful eSIMS for Gaza initiative, which was really good, masking initiative, and our Cartoonists Against Adult Content Censorship initiative, all of which are ongoing at present, which reminds me as well, the Senate and Senate Democrats are starting to bring up KOSA again, which would essentially change the internet as we know it. They're trying for a mass censorship campaign, of course, under the guise of helping children, which if they actually did give a damn, they would actually be doing something about Gronk on X, doing what it's doing right now with not only children, but also with women. And they would be doing something about that, but they're not. But let's go after artists, with whatever. And of course, we also know that KOSA would most likely be used to censor trans people, but that's another talk for another day. But just keep an eye out on that. Please do your own research. Fight for the Future has great articles about that and the specifics about the KOSA bill. But going back to the statement, it is our belief that together we are stronger, and with solidarity we can make a difference to an industry that ultimately needs us as collaborators on equal footing rather than disposable assets. And that's true. You can't have a comic without an artist, without a creative team. Like why they continue to fight the people that make the stuff that makes this industry is beyond me. Now, how you can help: you want to support the artist. Supporting creators who have been wronged by Zell and Issa starts with standing alongside them directly. Listen to their experiences, which we will do. If they wish to speak more, respect their boundaries. If they do not, which y'all will do. As I stated at the beginning, and I will state again, do not harass anybody mentioned in this video. And as much as we will boo Zell and Issa, we're not going to go harass them, but we can mentally throw tomatoes at their printed name on the screen. If I wish I had like a tomato throwing emoji, so you could just throw it and like get it out through that way, because and affirm their right to fair treatment as both artists and as human beings. So spread the word. That's kind of what I'm doing. Public awareness can create accountability and reduce the likelihood that Zell and Issa's misconduct is ignored or repeated. Link this page to those asking for more information and talk about their misdeeds in conversations where HIVEWORKS is mentioned. And another reason why I'm doing this is I felt really bad because I actually suggested to an artist who was having problems with more not even really explicit content, just more like suggestive content on webtoons that they got kind of put down for, like a whole episode got taken down for. I was like, oh, well, maybe try HIVEWORKS, because they're more positive in that aspect. They post a lot more queer and like sex positive stuff. And like I literally did that shit last week, and then this came out. I feel like a fool. Are you not embarrassed? Is this not embarrassing? I feel like one of those old cartoons when they look at themselves in the mirror and the sucker comes up. That's how I felt. I'm like, God damn. That's why when I said it today, when I saw this shit today, cause like I saw this early in the morning, when I was getting all my stuff together for work. I saw this and I said, God damn, ain't no place safe. I'm like, we really can't have shit. God damn. But reduce speculation. At the same time, it is important to reduce speculation. Publisher disputes can be complex, and unverified claims can unintentionally harm other works. Avoid guessing about motives, internal processes, or outcomes, and do not circulate rumors. That's why I keep trying to say, like, some of the stuff is my opinion, my thing, but because I kind of put that in there. But if you're like, oh, well, what happened? What directly happened? I will point you to this document. They put it in their own words. And I will also point you to the artist that has spoken out about this, which we will go to now. But support the artists. They are now at the Chimera Comics Collective.org. A lot of them are. Some of them still are on HiveWorks. But I haven't really heard from some of these people yet, although I also haven't heard from some of the people on Chimera as well. We might be hearing from them in the next couple of days. And yeah, but this is a primary source of information. I'm just reading it and also giving my 2 cents. And I hope I've made it clear what I believe is speculation and my own personal experience and kind of like going through that. But if somebody's like, what's the brass tacks of what happened? Take them to this document at the Cartoonist Cooperative. All right, so we're going to go look at some of the posts made today by the cartoonists that were a part of this. Let's see here. Go to saved. All right. So we already read through. Let's see here. We already read through August statement. And let's see here. So creator of Phantom Marine. For anyone who ever wanted to know why I left HiveWorks, please read this. My friends and peers, they were amazing, and their vast reserves of hard work and creativity were used and abused in so many ways. We came together to share our stories, and thank goodness we did. Thank you for listening. Mine was one of the last comics to join HiveWorks by submission in 2021. During my interview, Issa said that she had found my work the year prior, but hadn't liked it, so had not invited me as she does many others. Someone else there liked it though and wanted me, but not her, not the head editor. Oh, we. Oh, we. Oh, we. Oh, the arrogance on this girl. Oh, the arrogance. Oh, I was given a chance to redeem myself. I was given a chance to redeem myself. I'm gonna be sick. How fucking dare you? How dare you? You raggedy bitch. How dare you? How dare you tell me? Ooh, I was given a chance to redeem myself by making a new prologue for the comic to make it less confusing and bad. You raggedy son of a bitch. Which, to be fair, did make it a bit better in the end, but it was clear that I was never wanted in the first place, and that made me feel like an ugly weed in the walled garden. But to my joy, people flocked to Phantom Marine pretty quickly. The web The web ring aspect of the site still served as a great connecting point for so many incredible comics, and new readers found me through those links. I found an audience that has only grown since. For that much, I am very grateful. But over the years, it became clear that there were many other problems in how the company ran things. My story of being made to feel small was not a unique one. So many of your favorite creators have been hurt in one way or another, some far more than others. They will share their stories in turn. This guild letter is the result of 3 years of trying to save something we thought was worth saving. We failed in one way, but we succeeded in others. Please listen to my peers as they speak and support their comic journeys away from HIVEWORKS, for many their stable foundation is now gone. And please, please do not ever work with Issa or Zell. I have had to hold my tongue professionally for 5 years, and I will not do it anymore. The damage they've caused extends far beyond HIVEWORKS. Please don't let it spread further. What kind of trees could we have all become had we not been so firmly planted in your shadow? And we got screen cap here. Looks like a conversation between Issa and our creator here, Claire. So Issa said, I saw you mentioning that Phantom Marine passed 2 million. Hooray! And I realized I never checked total views on Namesake before. Claire said, oh, Issa, it's incomplete data because we only got analytics in year... You only got analytics. Did you only get analytics? Okay. Oh my God. This pisses me off. I can't even finish reading it. That pisses me off. Because it doesn't seem to be well known, Issa is the creator of the web comics Namesake and Crow Time. Her audience is enormous, and many of us have been wary of saying anything for fear of backlash. Some of us experience backlash in small doses already. Take this as you will. I am so tired. And I never knew that comic had a name, Crow Time, but she is right. I'm assuming this creator's... okay, her. But she is correct. Issa has a comic known as Crow Time. You probably have seen it before. I never knew that was the name. I always called it those Crow comics. But you definitely have seen this. And funny enough, it's on Webtoon. It ain't even on fucking... It's not on fucking... HIVEWORKS. It's on Webtoon. So she didn't even think her own fucking comic was worthy, or did she think it was too good to be around these people? Like, but these little comics with these little crows, which are cute. They're good comics. I'm not gonna front. They're good comics, but I just... like, God damn. And the fact that some people who like these little comics that she makes are not going to be receptive to hearing these people and their stories and their experience is what's making me mad. Because someone can make... I've talked about this with Ant. We had a whole fucking episode. We did a video with him on it. That horrible people can make great art. And this is a horrible person who's made great art. Now, your line in the sand is your line in the sand, but the thing is that to dismiss all of these people's complaints and the damage that was done just because they draw the funny little crow comic that you like is just... Let's see. This debacle with my cover designs was the result of her advice too. I'm very much not alone on this. Many of us got advice that ultimately made our covers worse, some way worse. So this is a post from 7 months ago where she's going over, when I was with HIVEWORKS, I was discouraged to have Phaedra or other characters feature prominently on the cover because no one knows who they are. But I've been encouraged by others to rethink that. So, So these are cover designs for Phantom Marine Volume 2. And just concepts. I like wraparound stuff. I think that's neat. So I would have liked this one. But if that, like, I take it, I've never read Phantom Marine. So I'm taking it that Phaedra is a very prominent character. And if you make them look interesting enough, it should draw you in. Like, and if this is volume 2, I'm pretty sure I know who the fuck I'm dealing with at that point. Like, I think I know who I'm looking at. Advice I got. Okay, advice she got for these covers. Don't feature the characters on their own. You have to show them in action in the world. Don't show them in action because the comic is not an action comic. Don't show the world because people don't read the comic for the world. They read it for the characters. Yeah, truly, you have a dizzying intellect. Like, what? So, don't make it feature the character on their own. Show them interacting with the world, but don't show action because it's not an action comic. But also, people don't read comics for the world building, which is wild because doesn't your character have to interact with the world? And if the world ain't interesting, then who gives a shit? Like all of these things meld together to make a story. Lord have mercy. We got a little bit more here. I also got the advice that putting your main character on your cover in a static pose makes it seem like a romance book. So I was told no, big main character, just vibes, which I think I succeeded at, but damn. It was always just so mind-numbing to simultaneously hear, 1, do what I want because it's best, and 2, don't do what I do. It's not right for your comic. The only kind of comic that was acceptable was one made by her. The rest of us were going to be lesser by default. It was universal. Troubles outside HIVEWORKS include Valor 3, a long unfulfilled Kickstarter anthology that has several HIVEWORKS creators' work in it. Take a look at the comments page. Why was something like this left to rot, but not her own work? So let us see. So this is a page for a Kickstarter that included, like she said, HIVEWORKS creators' work. Oh, I've seen this before. I didn't do it, but okay. Valor Anthology, Final Value of Fairy Tale Comic Anthology about courageous heroines. Valor 3 Cups. So let's see, what is Valor? Valor is a comic anthology project composed of adapted, reimagined, or reinvented fairy tales. The anthology is aimed at all readers. And see, this is what pisses me off because, like I mentioned, HIVEWORKS was like one of the few places where you could see a wide array of POC and queer comic creators and also comics with those subjects and characters and everything. And people want that shit, especially nowadays. We need it. And the fact that they did this and left these motherfuckers hanging dry. So let's go to the comments. All right. This is 2 hours ago. This is 2 hours ago. Hello, just a friendly reminder that it's been over 2 years since my last comment, and I'm here to check in. Any updates on when this will ship or get back on track with updates at last? You got to be trolling, baby. You got to be trolling. So this is 2 months ago from Kirsten. Yeah, 8 months with no update. It's hard not to think this project is abandoned at this point. I hate complaining like this, but I feel like myself and everyone who backed this have been more patient at this point, but this is beyond ridiculous. I understand things got delayed and there were factors outside of your control, but it's been over 5 now, and there's still little to no concrete information on when to expect this project to be finished. Crow Time and Namesake are being worked on just fine, and while I understand that those might constitute more of a regular job, people still paid for this. There's still a responsibility responsibility to, at the very least, be transparent about what's happening. Almost $90,000 were raised, and it feels like we've been left in the dust. It makes me sad. I really like your work and believed in this project, and there's been almost zero transparency in the literal years. So 2 months ago, someone said, because I can't see how much this thing made. Oh, here we go. 89, yeah, almost $90,000. God. And she just dumped this to do Crow Time. And even the comments are calling her out on it. Lord. It's been 8 months without an update. Is there any progress on this? 3 months ago, that link doesn't actually say anything. They haven't been saying all year, and there's still no concrete data in place. 3 months ago, the authors did not appear to be supplying this as an update, so we'll add the link. Has information about Valor updates, sneaky behavior, someone said. Any updates or ship date on this, please? Namesake just finished chapter 34. That is a natural spot to take a break there and start giving Valor 3 the attention it so desperately needs. So she said, hey, your chapter just finished in your webcomic, so maybe you can put the fucking pen down and do this shit. I don't blame him. So I finally Adele from 4 months ago. So I finally received the book I backed in 2017. The original author, the original creator actually died in 2019, pre-pandemic. And the family negotiated with a book publisher to take over editing and publishing it, but that became a multi-year saga in itself. So I have faith this will get published eventually. Girl, wait a minute. I'm not laughing at the situation. It's just the 0 to 100 of it all. So literally a creator who fucking died while getting a book together, the family managed to get that shit out to publish, even though it took a long time. But literally, someone who died, their family got the chance to get the Kickstarter out, and you just what? You're just what? Oh, baby. Someone RM, LOL, we're not getting even more updates on this, are we? No, you are not. I'll read all of these. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So, super backer, Professor Stephen Candy, who's responding to Wolf Kirschner. I'll read these. This will be the last one for this page. While I understand frustration, I myself am exceptionally frustrated. I would like to go on the record as observing the comments made by the creators that there is very little communication between Meg and Issa. My guess is that 5 years ago they lived in commuting distance, but now do not. I also gather that while Issa should have asked for help from other illustrators earlier, she did contact someone for help about a year ago. Hindsight is 2020. Posts intend to make people feel guilty or angry are not conducive to mental health. And I think mental health may be some of the delay. Frustration is very justified, but we want Issa to reach out to peers for help completing tasks, not burying herself in a dark hole. So wait a fucking minute. Wait a goddamn minute. What in the James Somerton Talos is this? So you mean to tell me that Meg and Issa all of a sudden just stopped talking because they stopped living near each other? And nobody picked up the phone, nobody got on the email, nobody got on the Slack, nobody got on the Zoom, nobody got on a Skype, RIP, nobody got on the text, the FaceTime. Oh, we. So Andrew from 5 months ago also says, well, the main frustration isn't even that, but there are just no updates. It's been almost half a year since the last one. Bets on whether there will be an update before mid-September. And the professor, the superbacker here, says, I think some of the frustration stems from Issa seemingly being quite able to produce regularly, seemingly profitable, certainly successful. Ooh. Snap, 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 snap. All right, seemingly profitable, certainly successful, Crow Time content, and merchandise, and to attend conventions. So she's making merch and going to cons while this shit just sits and rots. The audacity, yo. That's wild. I don't know how you could have an audience after this. I don't know how you could have consumer faith after this. This is what I'm stunned. I'm stunned. I get that income. Oh, to further this while not working on this project for which funds were received some time ago. I get that an income is needed, but this project received this funding a long time ago, some of which is presumably paid to the creators to cover their work. It feels like this is being left to waste away while the current project gets full effort and attention. A shame his earlier volumes and namesake were such treats. Then Tom Langley says, quite so, we appreciate. There have obviously been behind-the-scenes problems with this, but there has been a complete lack of transparency going back months, if not years. We were promised regular updates. These haven't happened. The last update was March. It's now nearly November, and now we are in January of 2026. What, as you've noted here, is particularly galling is the lack of this and the continual weekly, if not more, Crow Time updates, merch line updates, and the line as noted above. This seems, from my inexpert view, to be, I can only presume accidentally, being kicked the can until there is something, if anything, to show for it. Baby, the cans in the cans in the in the dumpster. They ain't even kicking it down the road. They done threw it in the trash. By the by, this is the third Kickstarter I ever backed, given this includes several Kickstarters that have now had sequels, if not sequels to the sequels, at least 2 run by individuals, and the development of an entire video game for multiple platforms. And this is the only one I'm yet to receive from this period. I believe this speaks for itself. So this motherfucker got the original, the sequel, the threequel, the prequel. And he's still waiting on this one. Oh, wee. Oh, wait, I gotta end on Audrey. This is funny. This was supposed to be a gift for my daughter's 14th birthday, which is the appropriate age for this book. By the look of things, she'll have kids of her own by the time it's done. You ain't lying. Okay. Going back to Phantom Marie. The excuse was always her health. Always her health. And we always wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt because we were all struggling with things too. But the debt kept piling up and the time kept passing and nothing ever seemed to get in the way of the Crow comics. I also want to say how much I looked up to Issa when I first came across her on Twitter. Every time she liked or interacted with my work was a huge boost to my day. I know others have felt this too. She made herself into a daunting presence in the webcomic community. That illusion faded so fast. Now that this story has been up for half a day, seeing so much positive feedback to our letter has been wonderful. This is what happens when you make good writers angry. Please read through the other quote reply. They're called skeets. I ain't calling them that. Quote, repost and see far worse stories than mine. Listen and beware and thank you. That's it. I couldn't remember the name of these people. It was Fourth Dimension. Okay, I mentioned this earlier in the stream about another webcomic publishing group that had Lackadaisy, Wakfu, Hannah is not a girl's name. No, Hannah is not a boy's name, and all these other things. And the Meek, and it was Fourth Dimension. They actually imploded in. And I thought that was the worst that I would ever see in my lifetime of small webcomic businesses completely imploding. Because Smack Jeeves was a part of like a bigger company that just couldn't sustain anymore, right? But Fourth Dimension was supposed to be like, Udon Group before they blew up. They were supposed to be about small press, all that. And Fourth Dimension like completely fucked over a bunch of people. And I'm just glad that Lackadaisy made it out okay from all that. But yeah, oh my God. That's who it was. It was Fourth Dimension. I could not remember that. Let's go here. So this is from someone who said that they know Issa personally. I cannot confirm or deny, but this is Shira. As someone who formerly was with HiveWorks and knew Issa personally through that time, this statement, while thorough and very well presented, doesn't even cover everything of the abusive machinations. Abusive machinations. I'm clutching my pearls. Oh my goodness. Now you know that's some shit. Machination. Machination. The abusive machinations. Okay. All right. I think I will take them at their word then, because you just don't use that turn of phrase for anybody. You know, some shit must have went down, but doesn't even cover everything of the abusive machinations, that took place, and is only the surface. Please read their reckoning was a long time coming. Oh no, okay. While I'm still not willing to share my own story, the one thing I do want to make clear is Issa is a known liar and manipulator, using claimed ignorance and bad health to garner sympathy and guilt to escape scrutiny. She knows everything she's doing, and any excuse she gives should not be believed. How personally did you know Issa? We lived locally at the time. It's how we met. I visited her home multiple times, and I was at her wedding. Oh. Okay, shit. I was a thorn in Issa's side by virtue of being too autistic to fall for most her nags or manipulative bait tactics, which is very funny, but note most. The very few times I trusted her help was regretful. I never blocked her on any SM front. She blocked me everywhere, though. Wonder why. This person says people like that hate it when someone won't fall into line. I've had to someone cut ties explosively with me for the same reason. I'm glad they're free now, but furious on your and everyone else's behalf. The only time I have ever seen her lose her mind with fury was towards me for making a backup off-ramp option for us, so when we off-boarded after our contract, it'll be smooth for us. Not the abusers in HW or HiveWorks, not the embezzlement, not the multiple crimes, me packing my digital suitcase. I laughed in her face, which I also did every time I caught her in a lie and tried to gaslight me, so I was laughing often. To your point, it really says a lot when a person gets angry and when they get angry and realizing you can leave. Oh boy. Oh shit. Okay. A rather personal account. So this is from K DeVault. I was only with HiveWorks for 2 to 3 years, but I always felt it was inevitable it would reach this point. I left before it got this bad, but it was still very bad even back in 2016. I wish all the artists luck and success. I'll talk a little bit about my own experiences, since I was always too afraid to say much back then. I wasn't a big artist, and since HiveWorks hadn't yet formed a Discord, I felt like I was the only one having problems with them. I ended up internalizing that it was my fault, that I just sucked. HiveWorks had both digital and physical exclusivity to my work, which was wild considering they did nothing for me. My ads barely ever ran. I spent hours refreshing to see if they were, asked HiveWorks for confirmation, and was told they were definitely running. I'm sure that was a lie. Eventually, I realized they just didn't care about every comic they had, but also that my comic must be bad. At the end, I ended up having a meeting with my editors, quote unquote, who basically said, it's not that bad, but we can fix it. Like, what? You've been editing my comic this whole time. But once again, going back to Issa, apparently she hasn't trusted these people to not do their fucking job, because she seems to be the main one saying and editing shit. And so they must just be sitting around doing nothing. That's what I can only infer from this. I asked for new notes, but was handed off to another editor because Issa was not. What did I just say? What did I just say? You can't see my face, but I got that look. that I asked for new notes, but was handed off to another editor because Issa was now too busy for my comic. The new editor had very off-topic notes and clearly didn't read the comic, which was a common thing that we found in the original statement. I was so stressed out that I started to hate the work I was making. I was depressed. I knew I had to stop. I ended up having to get professional help for my mental health. Oh, I still can't believe I even finished chapter 2 because the burnout was so real. I always felt bad for ending the webcomic without saying much, but there was a lot going on. Oh, God. Anyway, when I posted, the comic's name is Oddity Woods, and yeah, I've never heard of that. And I used to check that site a lot. So they really fucked this person over. Anyway, when I posted Oddity Woods on Webtoon Canvas and got 1,000% more views, follows, comments than I ever got on HiveWorks, I realized the problem wasn't me. The problem was I just wasted 3 years of my life with a bogus company. And see, that's what I was talking about before with these, like, trying to play agent shit and hide this kind of stuff because they knew they were screwing these people. In my opinion, once again, in my opinion, I believe that they knew that they were screwing these artists over, but they also didn't want to lose that exclusivity that they had on that website. So they didn't want to let these people know the kind of deals, the kind of engagement, the kind of audience they could be building without HiveWorks. Shame. Oddity Woods with an actual publisher now that actually cares about it, and I'm really grateful for that. If you're a young creator that signs a contract with any company, please always be wary. It's so easy to just go with something because it seems like the only opportunity you have. It's not, I promise. Damn. Okay, not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the name of this person. The Yaoi Proletariat. All right. Okay. God bless you. So they say I had a pitch meeting with the HiveWorks editor in 2019 that they set up under the expectation that I had a chance of being hired, where they spend the entire time telling me how bad my storytelling was and how my art had no audience due to its style and I wouldn't be a good storyteller until my 30s. What? It completely destroyed me for years and put a major bad taste in my mouth about HiveWorks. So as horrible as this is, it isn't too surprising. Golly. Wait a minute. So someone said, what the fuck is their problem? They said, I have no idea. Pure bitterness, I suppose. I just looked up pictures of the people in question, and I'm 90% sure the editor I talked to was actually the Zell person. If so, I am so much more upset and equally unsurprised at how they work behind the scenes. So they're thinking they talked to Zell directly about meeting with the editor, and pretty much the CEO of the company belittled them. And that goes back to my point. You're belittling people that you're trying to get to work with you. That's self-defeating. It's literally that meme of old boy on the bike and pulling out the stick and jamming it in the wheel and going like, how could you do this to me? Like, oh boy. Musop, who is an artist that I followed for a while, and they have a series on Webtoon. He said, yeah, if you're curious why a lot of creators left last year, me included, which I didn't know that they were with HiveWorks to go to show like the piss poor job they were doing. And I follow Musop, but I did not know that they were with HiveWorks. I didn't know this was happening behind the scenes. I just knew I was left with empty promises and wondering why my pace suddenly stopped. But they're doing good on Webtoon right now. If you like cute gay things, please go follow them. Very cute stuff. We already read through August's account. If you want, you can go back earlier in the stream, or you can read it on BlueSky at August Brown. Or rather at Skull Amity at bluesky.social. Austin Marie, let's take a look here. Well, this at least makes sense when one of the artists went shitting all over Webtoon original creators and Issa was liking all their tweets about it. Which is funny because I literally just showed y'all that Issa's got the Crow Time comic on Webtoon. Literally, the shit's on Webtoon. In fact, let me pull it up right now again. So she's gonna be talking all that nonsense about Crow Time, about Webtoon, right? Webtoon originals. When her shit's sitting right there. Like, look at this. Wait a minute. The shit updated today? The shit updated today. No way. Wait a goddamn minute. No. Oh my god. She made a whole. This is literally what the Kickstarter people were talking about. So you're gonna do all this, but not fulfill the Kickstarter. You're gonna do all this and not make a comment, a statement, something, anything. And of course, all these people who don't know what's going on. Oh my god. Oh. Yeah, so you're gonna be doing all that, but you're posting here on Webtoon. Literally posted this shit today, or rather yesterday, January 11th. Posted it yesterday. Like, Lord. Yeah, deeply embarrassing and unprofessional. This is too. Oh, God. Okay, so this is Petra, who makes Tiger and also made Progress. And they said, hey, remember the Tigers Book 1 crowdfunding that HIVEWORKS handled years ago? I'm still waiting to be paid for it. I almost bought this Kickstarter, but I think something happened and I couldn't do it. I think I was tight on funds at the time because of some medical something, and I couldn't do it. But over 1,455 people backed this, and they raised a $15,000 goal, $41,360. And I can only imagine how they cut up that pie to fuck this creator out of money. Everybody's like, this terrible. So far, this is the only statement that they, at least on this one, I don't think they made another one, but let me check. Because I was waiting to hear from the big people, like, at least for me, like, the very well known. But this makes sense why the people have been directing straight to their website now and not through HIVEWORKS or having the logo or anything on it. But yeah, okay, nothing else. I really do want to check Tumblr at some point to see if Yumino made a statement, given that Sister Claire was like one of the... I remember Sister Claire being like one of the first foundational web comics there. Because like I said, I read it in high school, and then I saw it was on, and then I saw HIVEWORKS became a thing, and I found other comics through there. So I really want to know if they made a statement or not. But Angie here said, working on Solstoria was always hard because it felt no one higher up ever cared about it. It's just a passion project that would never go anywhere or make any money. It still kind of is that, but I hope I can finish it someday. Well, we believe in you. We will support you. Please make sure you go support Angie. In fact, follow. I'll go give it a read. Oops. Crispy from Ghost Junk Sickness, which is really good. Known as Studio Cartridge as well. I missed that one. All right. It's been a long 10 years, and I finally get to talk publicly about what happened behind closed doors. Please take the time to read this letter, and please avoid working with these people. You're more valuable than an opportunity for people like them to use you as a cash cow for your work. All right, so we got another long thread ahead of us. 3 years ago, I was approached by many artists at HIVEWORKS asking if their mistreatment was normal, that their feelings of horrible self-worth within the company was really just a them problem. Turns out it was unfortunately normal in that we all felt that way. Stolen funds, reworked projects without permission, favoritism, opportunity opportunity sabotage. These were the common occurrences over at Hive. Artists felt used, ignored, and walked all over to pay Hive's bills and ego. People didn't know what to do. I helped co-found the guild in response to so many artists feeling this way, and we slowly gathered together to make a better Hive. Yeah, that's right. We thought we could help change and save the company if we all collaborated. Hurt set aside and transparency deeply needed. Unfortunately, that wasn't in the cards. We spent 3 years going back and forth with staff to understand the debt, the mistreatment, the empty promises, only to realize that the staff who was left to deal with the mess because the CEO and COO went hands off or left couldn't fix what was destroyed. HIVEWORKS was supposed to be a beacon for web comicers. It was supposed to be an indie opportunity to flourish in the small ways we can, but it became yet another example of a greedy publisher who saw an opportunity to take and take and take. It was also a vanity project for Issa and Zell, too. I said this before, they wanted the prestige of working in publishing, but didn't care a lick about the artists who brought readers in. If you were someone she thought was an artistic threat, Issa would go out of her way to humble you and put you in your place. Then why are you here? That happened many, many times to me and my fellow creators. Not only was Hive using our work, it would also remind us how worthless we were in the same breath. Everything felt like some sort of competition, and Issa and Zell made sure artists didn't talk to each other about it too. So many instances of the two of them going around gossiping in public about the real story when it came to their mismanagement and inability to handle their job. They would use someone else as a scapegoat and pretend they did all they could. It was high school stuff. As for my particular case, I was the bane of their existence, apparently. I was rumored to be out for Issa's job because artists would go to me for support, and she hated that. Well, girl, maybe if you did your fucking job, like, I was apparently trying to ruin things because I saw those cracks, squeaky wheel and all that. I took the risk I did. I didn't care about being everyone's friend. I didn't care about being everyone's friend or missed out on the connections because I didn't want to play that game. Artists were feeling used, stolen from, and neglected. I spoke up, and many others started to feel safe to do so too. The more we shared stories, and man, there are horror stories, the more we realized that the inner workings of Hive were more tangled than we thought. Our years of organizing led us to approach the cartoonist co-op for extra help. We tried our best to do what we could for Hive to survive. After we were hit with the we're in $250,000 in debt, and they wanted us to help financially while owing artists and staff money, it was a curtain call for Hive as a company. Issa left the sinking ship previously to avoid responsibility, and Zell ghosted the rest of us. All of this is to say that these kinds of people who promise the world with your work and take advantage are such a common and frustrating thing in not only comics, but all creative avenues. And speaking up and against them is the only way to make these cycles stop. Please support the artists who were affected by this. Please spread the word and speak up against people who use artists like this. HIVEWORKS is an example of a sea of greedy people who want our work to inflate their ego. Don't let them forget we can bite back, and without us, they are nothing. Amen. Amen. Oh my God. But that's it really from like the major ones that I saw today. And so I'll wrap up again by saying that a lot of the old I'm not gonna get to the other stuff. But I will wrap up in saying this, that they are all at the Chimera, not all of them, but a majority of them are at the Chimera Comics Collective. You can follow them on BlueSky and also read their comics at the chimeracomics.org. But the main thing that I want to question with this, because I was also going to talk about Iron Circus, which has had a problem, not to this level, this is catastrophic, but they've also had issues with like paying creators, having full transparency with people, like this management issue that we have with indie comics, to even like bigger publishers like Silver Sprocket, which that I encourage you to look into the Silver Sprocket article, which goes into like the horrific mismanagement of that company, to where we're probably going to be losing a really good publisher, a rather important publisher of indie comics that normal people wouldn't touch, like I mean normal like publishers wouldn't touch. Um like because that one, let me see if I can find the article so I can so that way you guys can have the URL. Um because when I read that one, and that was last year, when I read that expose, I was like, what in the fresh fuck? Okay, so once again, this is from the Comics Journal, which seems to be on the Pulse depth. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. My Red Bull is ending. But yeah, high debts, high rents, and miscommunication. What happened to Silver Sprocket? It's the same. It's the same shit. It's the same shit, and it's all done by people who just want the clout of having started a business and having published something without knowing and understanding the business side of it. And it's not all going to be perfect. Nobody expects it to be. But it's just the basic shit. Cuz let me see, to kind of go through let me see here. Let me see here. Did they say how much it was in here? Yeah, so they're not in as much debt as HiveWorks, but Silver Sprocket is at least in $100,000 in debt. And this dumb fuck took out a home loan to try to save the business. Oh God. Like like why are you all so adverse into hiring an accountant? My friend, who I've known for most of my life, is an accountant. She kicked my ass and she found out I was making a business and not looking at the money of it. Like oh my God, it's basic shit. If you're gonna start a business, it needs to be you, your partner, your lawyer, and your accountant. That's the baseline, because your lawyer is going to help make sure, one, you don't break the law, and two, that you have all your proper paperwork, and then your accountant is going to make sure that you got the funds, or at least ways to get the funds and also pay them back, so you're not ending up like this. Like, this is such a like all the other creators said, and like how even the main statement ended, was that this has become a major problem with indie comics. Like, why is that? Why? What is going on? This is a part of a bigger problem. Like they said, like in this final statement, like what, oh, not in this one. I think it was in the other one, in the one from in the other long one that I read. Sorry, like I said, the Red Bull is wearing off. But one of them, it was like, this story is like one in a sea of thousands of others. But why does this keep happening? And we got to sit down and think about it, especially if we want indie comics to thrive and survive in a day and age where a lot of the bigger comic companies are being absorbed into conglomerates. We only have like a few people within these ranks willing to make a stand on like automatic art, like just type and go art, or even getting a fair wage or pay from people in these companies, or even relying on good representation. That's what the smaller people are for. You can get like good shit out of the bigger companies every once in a while, especially when it comes to like representation, or when it comes to storytelling and all that stuff, but it's still going to be diluted because it has to go through a bunch of suits. And this was always seen as an alternative to finally tap creative talent that couldn't make it through the network system that is comics, like upper comics, and get away, have a way for smaller creators to actually like get exposure. But this keeps happening. This keeps happening. We keep shooting ourselves in the foot because we can't manage nothing. And it seems like it's on purpose at this point. Because you don't think about the business side, you just want the clout side. You want to be seen as, oh yeah, I own this and I do that. But what are you really doing? You're fucking people over. That's all I got to say. I'm gonna have about a couple minutes if you guys want to send in any last minute questions. And if you like this stream, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like what I do, you can give me a tip over on Ko-Fi. You can add to my Ko-Fi page, or you can I think you can send a tip through here. I know I put in super chats. I don't advertise it a lot. I need to more, but I don't stream a lot. I'm gonna try to rectify that this year by streaming more. Hopefully it won't be like this. Hopefully it'll be much better stuff than this. If you guys want, I could go read through this Silver Sprocket article if you would like me to. Maybe sometime this week or next week. Just let me know what you think. And yeah, if anybody has any other questions, anything that you guys want to say about this absolute disaster that we went through, because like I actually stopped reading this statement at a point during the day because I was like, I need to go over this with people, and I stopped at lack of transparency and communication. But even before that, I was just like, when I was reading this, I had to stop and like I didn't mean for it to be like 3.5 hours, but just oh god, just every time I saw something, I had to stop because I was like, this is outrageous. Ain't no way. But yes, it has actually been 3.5 hours, so I will cut it off here so we can all get on with our lives. Thank you guys for joining. And yeah, I will see you all next time. I hope to have a video out soon this month. And next month I try to do once a month, but recent not to sound like Issa. Not to sound like Issa, but recent health issues have kind of slowed me down a bit, but I'm starting to work through them and get back in the swing of things. So hopefully I can have some stuff for you. I also plan to have like some stuff for membership and whatnot, to kind of get more engagement around here. I like interacting with everybody, and I want to make sure that this community is very interactive, and you know, that we foster a community here. Not like this, not like whatever the hell this was, but an actual community. All right, but I will talk to you all later.